Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. It is Tuesday, August 27th, 3:45 p.m. We are here once again for another. Did I say market open? Tuesday, August 27th, Maybe the iPad's got playing it as well. I meant to say market close. We are back on another episode of The Market Close. Folks, we've got a very interesting day that has transpired in the broader global capital equity markets, which is that we went green. We went green. We were red when I left at about 11 a.m. and we weren't super red, but we were red. And since then, market did a U-turn, and that U-turn led us to go into the green. Pretty exciting action today. We're gonna have Jason on in about 25 minutes, and we're gonna be breaking down all of the technicals. Today is Technical Tuesday. So on Technical Tuesday, get ready for your tickers. We're going to go through the main ones: Nvidia, Crowdstrike, Salesforce, Lululemon, all the big earnings that we have coming up, Dell. But then obviously we'll do the Teslas, Palantirs, Robinhoods of the world as well. And so we'll have a long episode today going through all of those tickers. In terms of the actual stock price action today, look at the S&P 500. It's slightly green on the day. It's not up a lot. It's up 0.15%, but it's green. And the reason that it's green is because Nvidia, we have 24 hours left at this time tomorrow. My heart will be palpitating because we will be 14 minutes away from the results. 24 hours away, my heart's not palpitating as much. But Nvidia decided to go green today, 128.71, up about 2% on the day. That pretty much changed the trajectory of the day. You had Eli Lilly, that's up today on some new news about their drugs. The cruise lines are up about 3-4% on the day. Robinhood, I'll talk more about them in a second. They are having a hell of a day. Robinhood broke out to 21.54 right now at 21.46. A close in the 21.40s I think would be really bullish. A close over 21.50 would be incredible, but 21.40 would not be bad for Robinhood. SOFI as well. Just an incredible day, dude. It topped out at 789. Right now here at 780, up 1.63%. There was a lot of resistance, dude, at that 780 level. So if I just ate through it at $8, there's about 250,000 shares that people are going to have to buy to be able to get it above 8. But I think if it gets the momentum to 8, it should, hopefully have more momentum to keep running. But SoFi, even SoFi doing well today. Coca-Cola is up. Apple is up today. Berkshire Hathaway hitting a new 52-week high right now. Stocks that are down today, interestingly enough, are some of the big cap tech names that haven't done as well this whole week. So Meta's down a bit. It hit all-time highs last week. Google at 166, Amazon at 173, Tesla down about 1.4%, but Microsoft's up, Apple's up, and Nvidia is up on the day. So overall, it's been a pretty green day that hasn't been too bad. In the broader global capital equity markets. Chad says, so happy you can see colors. Yes, that this is, dude, I'm never going to forget Chad's joke. He said, I'm so happy you're not colorblind. Because if I was colorblind, dude, how would I do the stream? Like green would be blue, red would be orange. I'd be like, what's going on? It would be hard to get through this. But no, we're having a good day. So a couple pieces of news, and then we'll get into the market close. And then we've got Technical Tuesday to get into. So first of all, stocks that have hit a 52-week high today. Let me read this list because it's a pretty diversified list in terms of the stocks that hit 52-week highs. You got Berkshire Hathaway. That was kind of the shift to value this morning, even though Berkshire Hathaway owns a decent amount of Apple, which is tech. But nonetheless, you have the Coca-Colas, the American Expresses, the Chevrons of the world get momentum. Then you have Costco, Walmart, JP Morgan, Financials got a bid, Coca-Cola, American Express, United Health, Mercado Libre, Meli, the Amazon of Latin America, Allstate Insurance, Colgate Toothpaste, Northrop Grumman, Nokia, Philip Morris, Ferrari, T-Mobile, Tyson Foods, Texas Instruments. Very unique, diverse mix. A lot of them lean a little bit more towards blue chip stocks, even Barclays, but still seeing some of these names catch a bid today has been nice to see, along with Nvidia leading the way in the context of tech. The broader Mag 7 really not getting that much momentum. Even Palantir today, it was at $30.12 in the morning, and we thought Palantir was going to test below $30 today. It just kind of felt like in the pre-markets we were going to see below 30 and immediately bounced right back up. At one point it was at $31.12, now at $30.95. This, if we end over 30 today, that's going to be officially 2.5 weeks. And if we end the rest of the week above 30, that will officially be 3 weeks of closing over 30. Which, again, my thoughts on this are, if we go down to 25, I don't think that's, that big of a deal. But the fact that the market has normalized the $30 stock for Palantir 3 weeks in seems pretty normalized. Obviously, anything could happen, but this is not a fluke. 3 weeks in, it's like, all right, now people are comfortable seeing this $30 price, and they're kind of having to deal with the fact that the market's willing to pay this much for Palantir. So pretty nice stuff. Exciting to see an overall broad broad momentum. Now, the big thing, though, with all this momentum that we're seeing today and all the excitement that we're getting is that, unfortunately, I don't think any of it matters until we get NVIDIA numbers tomorrow. So, like, all the green that we're seeing could go red if NVIDIA craps the bed. All the green that we're seeing could go even further green if NVIDIA continues to do well. But really, it's going to be a question of what does NVIDIA do? And I think that's going to be the most important thing that we get to see tomorrow. So tomorrow at 3:30, I'll be live with Jose. So Jose and I will be live for 3 hours tomorrow, 3:30 to 6:30, maybe even longer than that, because Jensen is going to be on Bloomberg at 6:30. So we're probably just going to stream that right after earnings. So it's going to be a long stream tomorrow for the market close with Jose, and we're going to break down everything when it comes to NVIDIA. Okay, the big macro news we got this morning, if you missed the market open, was consumer confidence came in at 103 versus expectations of 100, which is a big beat in the context of consumer confidence for the broader market. Now, once this number came out, I thought the market would explode. I thought immediately we would go green because this implies that retail sales are probably going to be up again in August like they were in July. This means the consumer is spending. This means, maybe the consumer is not as big of a problem as the market thinks. But we had a muted reaction for like a couple hours. And then around 12:30, it seems like things started changing. Maybe this metric was one of the reasons things started changing. I kind of think it's just because NVIDIA started going up. But this was still really good to see, which led me down the rabbit hole of looking at and summarizing the analysis we've got on the state of the U.S. consumer. Walmart and Target both said consumer's fine. Both are low to middle class consumers. Uber and Lyft, a little bit more upper class, said the consumer's fine. Lowe's, although they missed on earnings, they didn't blame the consumer. They blamed the housing market. Why do I bring up Lowe's? A, because Lowe's is using Palantir, which it just shows how much operationally efficient Lowe's is getting, and they mentioned Palantir in their earnings call. B, Lowe's is not taking the easy rate out and saying, oh, well, the consumer's struggling. Lowe's is like refusing to do that because it's probably just not true. And this is a high quality company saying, yeah, we're not going to blame the consumer. This is more about rates in the housing market. The consumer seems fine to us. Literally, the CEO verbatim on CNBC said the consumer is fine, which means you're seeing other companies acknowledge that the consumer is not in a bad space. What companies complained? Disney raised prices at the park. Consumers got annoyed. Starbucks. Coffee is still too expensive in comparison to inflation that consumers are pushing back against now. And then Nike blamed the consumer, but really, I think it's more China and competition that seems to be the bigger issue. So I'm not saying the consumer is totally fine, but the consumer confidence beat that we got today, along with retail sales data, at least begins to signal to me that the consumer is not in as horrible of a situation as the market really wants to think, which is good news, which is really good news. And then if NVIDIA crushes it, then, it's going to be even better. Okay, Robinhood having a hell of a day. Let's talk about what's going on with the hood. So Robinhood did one thing today that was really important. Some of you guys might have missed this, but this is something that matters. I don't know if this is why the stock is up. I mean, you could argue this is why the stock is up, but I think in general it's just trending with the macro as the broader market tends to recover. But it has to do with crypto. So for all the people that care about Solana, which I wish we listed on Robinhood because we would make so much more crypto revenue if we had Solana. Unfortunately, the SEC stopped us from doing that. Solana is officially live on the Robinhood network, or the Robinhood wallet is now collaborating with the Solana network. So this means essentially you can self-custody Solana tokens and send or receive them over the Solana blockchain. Now, you may be asking, okay, Amit, Solana's cool, but why is that big of a deal? Well, Solana, which sounds like a really cool name, right? If that was someone's name, Solana. Solana is the blockchain that has tokens with the most excitement, enthusiasm, communities, and developers building on top of it. When people talk about decentralized finance, they're talking about Solana. Bitcoin's more store of value. Ethereum is, I don't know what the hell Ethereum is. Solana is really decentralized value. Solana is the same network, the same blockchain that my friend invested $500 into a meme stock or a meme token, a meme coin is what you call it. And made a couple million off of it. I'm not joking. $500 to a couple million. Like that is the blockchain that actually allows the ability for meme coins to get momentum. Iggy Azalea, I don't know if you guys know her. She's an Australian rapper. She has a meme coin on Solana. They're like, if you just go down the Solana rabbit hole, there's a lot of meme coins. There's a lot of momentum, a lot of enthusiasm. And what do I think about meme coins? I think it is the memification of the attention economy. I think if a group of people can get together and say, hey, we believe that this meme coin is worth XYZ, it's no different than stocks. Now, stocks have cash flows you can judge against, but I'm not going to judge people that are buying meme coins just like they would buy meme stocks. But nonetheless, that's where all the activity is happening. Solana's market cap, I think, is also like 50 billion, if I'm not wrong. So it's one of the most enticing meme coins or meme coin blockchains on the planet that's doing real work with decentralized finance. And finally, $72 billion market cap. It is integrated with Solana, with Robinhood's wallet. So I think that's very exciting. And that's very important. Are you pitching MLMs? I am not pitching an MLM, but dude, when he told me, bro, he put in 500, I think in like September of 2023. And by December, he had 80K. I was like, motherfucker, sell. It went from $500 to 80,000. Like, sell. He said, no, dude, I believe in it. I was like, all right. Then in February, it was worth 200K. I was like, dude, do I need to like come over? Like sell. You're up to, and he said no. And then I met him in April. I said, how much are you up? He was like, I don't want to say. I was like, how much are you up, mother? He's like, 1.5 million. I was like, $500 to 1.5 million. It sounds stupid. It sounds unbelievable. He pulled out his fucking Solana wallet and I saw the actual numbers. And so that really exposed me to the fact that Solana is a blockchain that really has a lot of potential in terms of meme coins, but also decentralized finance. The point is now it's integrated with the Robinhood wallet. That's very important. And that means there should hopefully be more activity integrated with Robinhood in the context of crypto. So that's why I think Robinhood is getting a little bit of a bid. SoFi 777, Dutch Bros up a little bit today, 1%. Starbucks, wow, 2.72%. I didn't look at this all day. $98 on the bucks of stars. That's incredible. Anyone who bought puts on Starbucks, GG, dude. That did not work out. They kept their momentum. That CEO kept the ball rolling. Rocket Lab's down 9%. Interestingly enough, Rocket Lab had some progress with something in their rockets. With they hit a neutron milestone. Their engine has been tested to their satisfaction. That's some news I got today. I'll go deeper into this a little bit later, but they put out some news about their rocket, like just propelling and getting better. So I'm shocked that it's down 9% on the day. Where's ASTS? Is this one still up? AST. Okay, so the whole space sector is going down. ASTS down 7%. That's probably why Rocket Lab is up, even though they had some good news today. Nvidia 128. We got 3 minutes until the market closes, up 1.46% on the day. Robinhood $21.40, up 2.08 cents or 2.80%. S&P 500 561. Again, not a big green day, but it's better than being red. And we were red for the majority of the first couple hours, and so we kind of switched green. IWM, unfortunately, has not been able to catch its footing. And the reason IWM is down almost 1% is because Nvidia is up. It's just that simple. IWM goes down when Nvidia goes up. You need the market to broaden the rally, which means you kind of need to suck money out of Nvidia. The weird sort of paradoxical conundrum here is that if Nvidia goes up, which all of us want it to go up, how is there going to be more money to go into small caps? Right? I mean, that's an interesting question to explore, unless it's just an everything rally and like money just comes out of nowhere. But you would imagine Nvidia has to kind of stabilize at 120 to 130 for IWM to get closer to 300. If Nvidia goes to 150, which, I mean, if they really crush earnings, who knows? I don't know if IWM catches a bid all the way up to 300, as Tom Lee says, but we'll see what happens there. Down about 0.74% on the day. Palantir, $30.86, basically flat on the day, up 0.05%. And then Robinhood right here at 21.40, up 2.08%. Palantir did release a new video with our superstar influencer from Palantir, Chad. I'm going to link that in the chat right now. So you guys can definitely watch that here. That is on Twitter. I watched the video. I thought it was really good. Really broke down a lot of key concepts, especially around Palantir's AI mesh infrastructure, with all the operational workflows they have integrated in that one ecosystem. So definitely recommend checking that out and watching that video as well later here today. Volume was down for Palantir today. Yeah, volume was definitely down. Usually what's the volume? Volume's at 21 million. I mean, on average, we do like about 40 million. So volume today definitely, I mean, it's just chilling out, right? Chilling out with the price action, which is normal after being up as much as it was up. Bitcoin, a little recovery to 62,000. Nothing too crazy, down about 1.68% on the day. So nothing too crazy. The proxies definitely got a little hit, but Bitcoin relatively flat throughout the day. I mean, the fact that it's holding 60 to me is a win in my book. I didn't really expect it to keep 64 over the weekend, but it did keep 64. And now we're seeing a little bit of downturn or downside momentum here as we get into the market close. Dow Jones looks like it's about to close again at a all-time high right here at 413, up about 0.08% today. Yesterday, it closed at an all-time high, which was pretty incredible to see for the Dow Jones. All right, folks, here we go. Getting into the market close. We'll have Jason on in just a couple minutes. He'll break down a lot of technicals for us. Get ready with your tickers. It'll be a long show. We'll go through all the technicals, get Jason's thoughts on the market, and prep for NVIDIA earnings that is coming up tomorrow, 4 p.m. Tuesday, August 27th. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, NVIDIA ends on the day up 1.45%. Not bad for NVIDIA. There you go, 1.45%. Palantir ends just slightly down, 0.03%. Robinhood, 2136 up 1.91% on the day. IWM ends 0.76%. S&P 500, 561.5, down a little bit after hours, but green on the day, up 0.13%. Where's the NASDAQ? I think it was slightly green. Yeah, slightly green, up about 1/3% on the NASDAQ, 476. So the NASDAQ and the S&P were the indices that led, along with the Dow Jones. IWM was the index that took a little bit of a breather after having a really good week last week with Jackson Hole. Crypto stocks, CleanSpark down 5%, Coinbase down 2.79%, IREN down 3.32%, MicroStrategy down 4.69%, Bitcoin again down 1.4%, Ethereum below 2,600 at 2583 down 3.8%, and then Bitfarms right here at 1.28% here on the day. Let's look at Mag 7. Mag 7 ended green for Microsoft, slightly green for Apple, about 1/3%. So the market really didn't care about the CFO kind of leaving, which was the big news for why they were down yesterday. Meta right here at 519. Meta was down about 0.39%. Google continuing to struggle. Google down 1% on the day. Google was the biggest loser outside of Tesla. Tesla down about 2% in the Mag 7. I think the street's kind of just concerned around the direction of Google. I myself have caught myself using ChatGPT a lot more. I don't think that's bearish Google just because I'm using ChatGPT a lot more than Google search, but I do think that means that, more people are going to want answers via their queries that are not rooted in blue links. I don't think that means Google has to lose that game. I just think right now maybe the market's wondering where is Google's positioning in that game itself. Amazon right here at 173, Nvidia ending on the day 1.46%, and then Tesla at 1.88%. Dell, we're going to be looking at later today. Dell at 111.91 on the day, up about 0.21%. Salesforce, this is another one that has earnings tomorrow, 264. This was down about 1/3. And then Crowdstrike has earnings tomorrow along with Nvidia. Crowdstrike up 1.49%. So people seem to be a bit more optimistic going into Crowdstrike earnings, which I wonder if people are even going to care about tomorrow when Nvidia comes out. But we probably will see some volatility on that stock. Nvidia right here at 128.33. After hours up 1.46%. Not bad at all for the broader market, but again, none of it kind of matters until we get Nvidia results, because that's going to determine pretty much everything else that we see. All right, I think it's time to bring on our favorite technical analyst. It'll be a long episode. We're going to break down a lot of stocks. If you have any tickers, put them in the chat right now. We're obviously going to start off with Nvidia because that's going to be the main player tomorrow. But let's get into what we have in the context of the technicals.
What's up, man?
Hello. You turned the AC off as soon as you came on. I love it.
I did. Did you hear it shutting off? And I'm turning the gain down too. I'm on Spaces all day, so it's a totally different setting for them.
So I love it. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm bro, I didn't know that you didn't know about crypto space, dude.
No, I know about
highest bandwidth blockchain, period, right? So there are problems with Bitcoin and Ethereum from a network perspective and protocols / technology perspective. Solana is the one that's going to enable the traffic, basically. If you were ever in crypto back in the day and you're sending Ethereum back and forth and those fees get through the roof, Solana is the solve for that. But also it's easy to build on as a platform, which is unfortunately why you get all those meme coins. The other one I saw in your chat was doing AVAX. That's fastest blockchain measured by time to finality. So fastest blockchain in the world, Avalanche. Highest bandwidth, Solana. Those are the only other two that I'd be like, okay, these are what we call layer one. Anyways, I'm done nerding out on you.
So I only know about Solana because of my friend that turned $500 into
Solana was like the second one to me would be Avalanche. But anyways.
Yeah, and
if your cross base is like $2, that's cool. But if it's not, then it is what it is.
Yeah, and the thing about Solana is that when my friend when he made all that money on those meme coins on Solana, I asked him to explain it to me, and he's like a really big crypto dev, so he sent me like just a lot of information around December 2023. That's when I started looking at it. But I didn't realize Solana went to $9 in the crypto bear market. Now it's at $150. It outperformed Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those ones. So it seems like the developers really like that one a lot.
It's an alt guy, always an alt investor, I guess, in the crypto verse. But that right there is exactly why.
Yeah,
they do run a lot more, for sure. So what's going on, dude? Did you check out this? What do we want to hit first? I mean, I kind of feel like the market is kind of more or less sideways, to be honest, from at the index level. I didn't see a whole lot going on today, but I feel like everybody's on pause waiting for Nvidia and maybe PCE on Friday.
Yeah,
But
it's been pretty flat. We do have Centennial 1 earnings after the bell.
Sentinel one
Earnings. Of course, I say their name wrong. It's up 1.43%. So when I get the results, I'll let you guys know. But I think let's start off with Nvidia, man. First, I want to get your thoughts on what you think is happening for Nvidia. How are you positioned? And then let's look at the TA.
Yeah.
See where you think it's going.
So I mean, I'm an Nvidia shareholder. I just, it's not like a massive position for me. I think so. I was looking at this earlier. So we talked about 123 being like that key kind of pivot level. It tagged it once, kind of came in close. This is that key area. Look, when it comes down to earnings, it's all of this is kind of going to get washed away, right? Because you're not going to be able to have a stop or anything like that when things actually report. It's just going to blow through your levels, and then it's going to kind of like settle out the day after. But what I'd say in terms of Nvidia, I would be really cautious of like going crazy upside. Like you have to realize like what the market cap is here. It's like $3 trillion. If you're shooting for like 250 to double this, that would be a $6 trillion company. That's just not going to happen, right?
Why not? Why can't it go to 6 trillion? Why not?
Not tomorrow, man. Not tomorrow. That's for sure. And probably not even this year, but like it can go higher. It's just, I would caution the general public to like keep the expectations realistic. I think that there's, when it comes to Nvidia, there's some really interesting ways to play these kind of things, especially around earnings. You have to be able to realize, look, just because you get the direction right on a moment like this has nothing, that does not mean that you're going to make, it will go to 5 trillion, maybe in a decade. But like it's not, you can get the direction right in a moment like this, but also lose money on your trade, right? So this is kind of an important time, maybe to talk about volatility, things like that, or how to really trade around these type of earnings events. I was looking.
So let's talk about volatility, but also I want to get your quick high level. What level do you think it runs if it touches on earnings? What level do you think it collapses if it touches
150, right? 150, 155 would be like max. I'll say, so Nvidia has an average move. I'm looking at a different screen. I already ran some numbers. Here, you know what? I'll pull this over. So of all I run like a earnings system, but Nvidia has an average move of $14.26, has an implied move of 15.60, which is not horrible, right? So it's slightly overpriced. If I look at this and I kind of drill in, so last quarter, and I don't care about whether the stock went up or down. That's actually not important. Last quarter, 9.3, 16.4, the quarter before that. A couple quarters, very muted reactions here about like 6-9 months ago, and then you have your breakout quarter essentially about a year ago. So on average, net, it actually nets out about 11% move on average. But if it beats it, it can beat it in pretty large fashion about half the time so far. That said, though, when we look at volatility, the short dated strikes, I don't know if you understand what this looks like, what this means, but the short dated vol for near dated contracts. So volatility is how you gauge whether or not something's expensive or cheap, right? So HV stands for historic volatility. So the 30-day average volatility of Nvidia is 69.3%, right? So that's actually where your options should be priced. If you look up on an options chain, what you'll see is that the near dated strikes are at 145%. So that's literally double the price that they should be. And if you go out a little bit further, then they end up getting cheaper to 79.
Which means you're paying a premium for those short-term calls.
Double, right? Double the premium. So if we know that, let's say the market maker move or implied move is 1560, you really need to get like double that to make money. But you have to at least beat the implied move to make money on a directional bet, at least. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you don't do, and this is whenever I'm looking at even thinking about trading earnings, this right here is the key piece. Like I have to factor what's the average move, and then I have to factor what's the current implied move. And I have to know so there are certain situations where like, okay, Abercrombie is actually underpriced, right? Dell is actually underpriced. We can look at Dell. So these are situations where I know as a trader, as an option trader, if I wanted to take a directional bet, my best bets are Marvell, Dell, and Abercrombie. If I wanted to be directional, Crowdstrike, I have to this is overpriced by $5. In this situation's probably justified, right? To be fair, right? So, but you have to know, hey, look, this is what the implied move is. This is the amount that's already priced in. If it doesn't move this amount, then you're probably not going to make a lot of money, if at all. And you might not make a lot of money.
So you're not really excited about options this quarter because the stock has run so much already.
So this presents a couple different situations. One, you can sell premium into this in certain ways. Two, like, you can be neutral in strategies. Sentinel one, did it come up? I have this weird feeling.
It's down 8%. So.
I was going to say, I would have been short. I would have been short on Sentinel one for sure. I think it's about guide, but I think a lot of this was built into like the market thinking that, and this was underpriced. So this implied move 348, 382, you could have taken a bit of a directional bet on this one. But we can and this will be in retrospect. When I looked at the chain for Sentinel one, there was a lot of like 2350 puts going out for about $1 today, all the way down to 20. I think 20 might be a little too far.
Covering a little bit right now. It's down 3%.
But so for example, if you thought Sentinel one was going to take a dump, right? And you went and grabbed $20 puts as your quote unquote lotto because they're so cheap, they're going to open up near zero tomorrow. Unless this thing gets in the money. So just as an aside, if you're thinking about trading earnings with options, you want to think about not just like the implied move, but really like what would the in the money value of that option be? So you want to pick something that's going to be in the money deeper than the amount that you pay for it.
So let's use this as an example. I think this is a perfect question. So I was looking at the 830 $200 Nvidia calls that were going for 3 cents. Why is that a stupid call, even if Nvidia pumps to like 175?
First of all, you're going to have a hard time selling anything for less than 5 cents. And they're going for your 2 cents. They'll let you buy it, but nobody's going to buy it from you for more than $1. $200.
Well, no, it would be $2. Those calls are $200 calls. Yeah, $200 calls. But I'm making this point to basically say what you're saying, which is that the stock has to move up so much on earnings to be in the money for the contract to be worth anything.
So tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday night, Nvidia reports, right? And so Thursday morning, you'll have about 24 hours of market to trade in this. There might be like a 10-minute window for you to get out of those. Right. At like $5. Yep. But if you don't have that limit order sitting there ready to roll, bro, and this is not over $200, like it has to, if it's $201, the stock, you're golden, right? Because then you can sell for $1. And that's what I'm saying. Think about it as the in the money value of whatever those options are. So we'll call it, in the technical term, is intrinsic value of the option. So if you got a $200 call for a penny or two, you just want to say, okay, what needs to be slightly over 200? So if it's $200.50 for 5 minutes, then I can get out for $50 a contract, if that makes sense.
Which implies a $3 trillion market move, just to
bingo, right? And I think that's where people are getting a little off sides right now. As I'm seeing some of these YOLOs, and I'm like, whoa, you guys realize what this market cap has to be. There is one trade that stood out to me on Nvidia that actually made a lot of sense, and I went ahead and took it as my lotto. Okay. These are total lottos, right? Like if you're gonna do what we call lottery ticket, like it's got, if it goes zero, I could care less, right? But it was a 150, 155, 160, we call butterfly. So I'm buying a 150, selling 2 155s, buying a 160 for September 27th expiration. I paid $20 for it, right? So if it gets anywhere into that 150 range, and that's got 30 days to expiration, Okay, cool, right? Like that's max value, maybe like $200 I'll get out if it gets anywhere close to that. But I think that would be like that maximum type level. And if not, I only spent literally $20 on that. So like 10 of your 200s. I think that if you're gonna do a lottery ticket, something like that makes a lot more sense.
But again, these are lottery tickets because no one knows how.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it makes a lot more sense than here. I'm gonna try and detach this. This is what that payout actually looks like, right? So like you have to really get over 135, then you're making like a couple bucks, $20, right? You know, if it gets to 150, let's call this 150, right? Then maybe you're making like $15, if that makes sense.
Right.
But you're not going to lose like a boatload from there.
Right. Okay. Can we go back to the TA on Nvidia and kind of any indicators you're looking at? Then we'll move on
So it's still this 123, right? So I think if you're really kind of concerned about this, what I was looking at as a legitimate trade, I was kind of feeling like this. Whoa, Thinkorswim just took a dump on me. I'm gonna have to open up a new instance. Was like 120 level. So maybe selling some 120 put calendars, something around that, if that makes sense. So selling some short dated 120. So I'm from a TA perspective, I think this could come down. If this is the top right here, this could come down in this 110, possibly hit this kind of volume shelf, but it'll have a stutter step around 115, most likely.
Well, what do you personally, you've been in the stock for a while, what is your personal opinion on what happens tomorrow on earnings?
Honestly, I feel like this might be one. So my personal opinion is that it might go up a little bit, but really not much. And I hope that it's flat, right? And potentially fall down to 115. Ideally, that would be some kind of an ideal situation to see it come down in here and then quickly recover.
And you're saying this because the run-up has been so aggressive this year that you think the market giving it additional premium to 140, 150 is just a lot to ask for.
Well, I think it's going to depend on their commentary around Blackwell, right? So I think it's a lot about whatever Jensen says in terms of the Blackwell. I'm not, to be fair, I mean, I'm not that interested in trading Nvidia as I am like some potential pairs trade around that. Like, do you know what I mean? Are you familiar with pairs trades?
Do you mean like proxies that benefit from?
Yeah, proxies. So I think that's a much better situation. Like I was just looking at Micron today. Guarantee you, Micron's going to move on Nvidia earnings. No question to me.
This one has been a disaster since last earnings, to be honest. I mean, like it pumped up to 150, but then the market didn't care about memory storage as much as they thought they cared about.
So I would say it's been de-risked, right? So you're de-risked in terms of, you know, it's from 150 down to here. This is down like 40%.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that they're sold out for the year. And whatever guidance NVIDIA gives is going to be a direct guidance to Micron. So I think this is de-risked in terms of, you know, if NVIDIA does okay, Micron's going to get a nice pop here, I think, to like 110s, maybe in the midsection here. And that would actually end up locking in today's level as a bit of a higher low. So if we have what we'll call a double bottom here on Micron around 85, then this last high, we have probably an equal high here. But if this ends up being the low, this could be low, double bottom, higher low. If these are the highs, right? Higher high. And like higher low, this is your exact spot and a really important like place in terms of where the stock is trading. This is pricing it back 6 months prior, right, to March quarter. And this one hasn't really gotten off. But if it does go, this is a spot where I could say, hey, look, even from an equity perspective, simple stop here on this guy would be like just under 88, 89, something like that.
So let me ask you another question about NVIDIA. If they raise guidance and they crush it, let's assume the utopia scenario, 34 billion for Q3, 30 billion right now in Q2. Is there any point where the numbers are just so amazing that the market can't ignore it and they have to move it up 10, 15%?
No, I think that the problem with Nvidia is like if it comes in too good, it's going to be a sell the news event.
Why?
What are you going to look forward to? They'll be like, this is topped out.
I would look forward to. That's a good
What
question.
would you
What
have
would
to? So that's
Guys, chat. What do we look forward to, chat? Let's get an answer for this. We got to answer this bear case. What do we look forward to?
you see what I'm saying? 60 billion. All right. Well, look, the market already knows that, right? So that is that's the possible situation where, like, if it's too, so it's been like this, and Jensen's been a like magician, masterful CEO here. You know, Nvidia has been and continues to be in this place where it's not that they have to have, if they beat too much, it's just going to be like, okay, this is the peak, right? The market's going to say this is the peak. It has to be a Goldilocks situation. And I think that the analyst community is more or less on the side where you're going to be facing decelerating growth this quarter, right? And so I don't, because of that, from here to there, it's definitely not going to be like breaking out until they report, unless there's something that Jensen says that is not expected in the market. But
this is a really fair question. I mean, the fact that you said, well, they're topped out if they crush it, I don't have an answer to what you look forward to, and the market's forward looking, right?
Right.
So that is fair. That's a fair point.
I mean, it's up to Jensen. Jensen could come out and be like, hey, look, we delayed Blackwell because we have this new architecture that's even better. Right. And we're just gonna pre-release it and we're gonna go. But
that's what he did on the earnings call last time. I remember the biggest quote that stood out was he said, you guys will see Blackwell revenue this year. And the market started getting exciting. Now that's kind of delayed, so not really sure.
Yeah. So I think it's about that commentary, what's after Blackwell, what's to get, and what's really next. Maybe it's CUDA, maybe it's an NVIDIA cloud, right? Who knows?
Yeah, you're right. There is something we have to look forward to at a deeper level. Guys, Webull is saying SoFi's down 14%, but I'm pretty sure that's a bug. SoFi on the other brokerages is fine.
778 right now.
Yeah, so SoFi should be fine. Okay,
somebody fat-fingered, buy it if you can.
What do you say?
Somebody fat-fingered it, buy it if you can. It's 6 whatever, because it looks good.
Okay, so let's go to Tesla, because it broke your level of support at 216. What are you thinking about Tesla?
216, I said it's going to go to like this area, 210. And I think that today, I really wanted this to close over 210. And I was about to take this long. I actually took a little, like what we call placeholder long. I think 207.50 ends up being important. But so it was here to 216 or whatever. You got to stop out. 219, something like that. And then short, it's to 210. But at this point, this is where I'm looking. Okay, it's come down. I'd like to see it bounce. It doesn't have to bounce right here, but I'd like it to bounce somewhere in here. There's a bit of what we call like a fair value.
What is that, 200? Bounce at 200, you're saying? Or 205?
Well, they're like this. They're like, if you want 200 exactly, it's not going to give it to you. It's either going to give you 202 or it's going to give you 198, and you're going to think it's a short. And the second that you short it, it's going to go up. So at this point, I'm looking at this really kind of like key level here around 207. So this is where it broke down before. This is 207.40, 207.40 actually, exactly. I want to see this hold. Otherwise, it is, sub 200, probably closer. I don't know that I would touch it if it goes any lower than this, or even attempt to see it bounce one more time. Because
why do you think it's struggling? Is it rotation out of large cap? Because that's my explanation, but I don't think that's the best.
I mean, Tesla's not that. It's not even that large cap anymore, is it? I mean, it is, but it's not like it's not. It doesn't have a T next to it.
I don't really know. I don't know why it's down, dude.
I just think there's market's forward-looking vehicle, right? So we always have to have something to look forward to. It is gonna be 10-10, right? Like Robotaxi Day, but that's not for a while. So until that happens, it needs another catalyst. I think that it kind of like chops around this level. But if it doesn't go tomorrow, I think you put this on a back burner for like a couple weeks and expect it to just be choppy.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally go. But if it doesn't go tomorrow, like back up to 220s, so this would be a good spot to take a trade as a small starter, very short dated, like for Friday kind of thing. If it bounces, great. Then you're looking ideally 230s back in here. But if it doesn't, I would just like take a small loss from a net new perspective and move on and give this probably 2 weeks to rest for a little bit after chopping around for a little while. Because this, quite frankly, this does start to look like just massive consolidation, which means it may not be ready. And it just needs more time. So I would look at these areas, and that's kind of like right in here. This is where I'd be like, okay, it's got to go. It could be a little quick flush, but I want to see a quick impulse higher also if this happens.
Consolidation wouldn't be bad for longs, right? I mean, 180 to 200 consolidation.
Depending on what your vehicle is for longs, right? So if it's options, it is bad. But if it's equity, it's not bad. If it's leverage ETFs, it is bad, right? So depending on your trading vehicle, that's what matters, right? But consolidation from long-term equity is perfectly fine. And I have a good chunk of Tesla that I'm not selling it right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so even if this does pop, you just got to be really careful. It's this 237 type of area, like up in here, that if it doesn't get through that, then it's definitely, so you got to take it in little chunks. So you'd have to see it like this. This is like the ideal trajectory for Tesla.
Right.
But again, this is trading hat, not investing hat. So take that with a grain of salt. We're traders. You're just taking a little, well, dude, if Tesla is consolidating for 3 to 5 years, I'm not going to be a happy Tesla investor. I'll give you that. I should probably put my money somewhere else.
I mean, it's basically been consolidating for 3 years already, right? To an extent. So
I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on when you picked it up. You could say that Amazon's been consolidating for the same amount of time too, right? Like for 5 years, it's been dead money.
Yeah.
So it depends on when you pick these things up for sure.
Okay, can we do Palantir real quick? My theory on Palantir now, and I want to see if the technicals support it, is that the buyers are tired. They pumped it all the way up to 33. The only catalyst left is earnings, which is in it for a couple months. So I want to know the probability of Palantir getting below 30 based on the technicals. What do you think the probability looks like?
I think it's like a 100%.
Wow. All right. You got to give us some bearishness here. What do you think?
I think 3120 was your key area. So this is Palantir here now. I think this day you topped out. Is this area 32s. So it's not like here's the thing from an investor perspective. This is prime sell short dated calls type of area. If you want to be short dated calls, like, and remember, if you're going to sell calls, you still want to do it at levels that you're happy to sell at. So this would be like September 13th. I would say sell $35 calls. Does that make sense? Like they're way high out of the money. If you're trying to go for like premium grabs, then you want to sell at the money calls, like for a Friday expiration. And if you're trying to protect your stock, then you want to do something called a costless caller, or aggressive in the money calls. Just as an aside, like selling out of the money calls does not protect a stock holding from any loss. It's very minimal. It's not going to protect a loss. But you can collar a stock if that makes. Are you familiar with that term, collaring?
It's in that butterfly iron condor camp that I'm not fully.
It's like you sell, sell an upside call, right? Sell covered calls. So it's selling a covered calls, and instead of taking that premium that you collect and put it in your pocket, you take that exact amount of money and you buy some downside protection with it, and you pay nothing for that downside protection.
Oh wow, that's actually interesting. What is that called?
Costless caller. So you remember we were looking last week, we were looking at like those $28 puts.
Yeah.
So September 20th had some $28 puts coming out. Looks like, yeah, they're still there. They're still active. So I said sell a $35 call for September 20th. I think you could sell. So here's a perfect example. You could sell that $35 call for September 20th expiration, collect about $39, turn around and buy a $28 put. In this instance, today, it's going to give you a little bit. You're going to be $8 out of pocket on that. If you could get it for free, that would be ideal.
But it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's not the worst thing in the world. And if you had, let me simulate this really quick.
I've never heard of this costless caller.
Really?
Yeah, we got to think of something that's like called a bow tie. I want to make a name for an options and make it popular. I want to be like Claudia Som. I want to have my own name for this shit. Dude, I thought this was like an old guy from the 1890s. It's a chick who's 34. Like, she's so young. I was like, oh wow, interesting.
So you're still going to be down. So let's say if on 100 against 100 shares of Palantir, if you bought it right now at spot $30.79, if it goes to $28, you'd be out down $277. If you put this on, that would hedge about 50% of that, and you'd be down about 130.
Right. Okay. So
color would hedge about 50% of your stock.
In terms of the downside, so what are the actual technicals looking like in terms of the bottoms that you see could happening for Palantir, and then what it would need to get into that 30, high 35 range?
Well, I think you target this area, right? So you again target the same kind of area right in here. More likely this 27. So like that's why that $28 put makes sense from a, they'll also call it like a protective put. And that would honestly, technically, that would look like this type of pullback right into here.
So your target is,
and that would actually be just retesting this 2750 kind of top.
So your target is 20. Your target is 2750. If it really.
Yep. So that 2750 area, like that was a key order, I say order block, but a key level. It toyed with so many times. I think that you expect it to come back to that, collect, and hopefully, and as an investor, you'd want to see, do more buyers come back in yet again? Because if they do come in one more time, that's constructive. They're going to make another push to this 32 level. It'll look like this. But that's where the challenges start to begin. It'll come in here. If it cannot get through this 32, then what happens is that this comes down deeper because it's got to go deeper to collect more buyers, at least. Ideally, you want to see this happen, breach, base, and then continue on. But regardless, it's now, as long as it's below 3120, and that's my line in the sand. So 3120 right here, this little order block.
Right
here. So this day, August 12th. So resistance, push up through, couldn't continue on. Now this is still like looking like resistance. It has not, unless you see it act as support, and that would look like this. Then you're good. But unless you see that, you're not good. And so today it's closing below. Right. So, yeah. I mean, it's not like, hey, this is not this is a trading hat, right? So just for anybody watching, this is the celestial, what do we call it? The astronomical tarot card reading.
I mean, it's astrology. Yes.
Astrology, technical astrology. But yeah, like you really want to see it get back over. So just like 3750 was a key level that we'd played with for a little while, I think you start to think of 3120 as that next kind of key level. If it plays around with 3120, that's good. And it continues to grind higher. Like the longer you see it over 3120, the better. But
let me ask you a quick question here, because I'm seeing a lot of other TA accounts. If you zoom out to like the weekly or monthly or whatever, they're saying there's a beautiful cup and handle on Palantir. Is that true, or is that not true?
It is. And what I'm talking about completes all of that, right? So like a cup and handle, first of all, is already played out, right? And that was here, and you came down, and that 2150-ish level tagged it. And so what we're talking about, see, that's 2750. What we're talking about is that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you should be perfectly fine with this coming back below 20, 30 bucks. Because remember, stocks don't just go up, right? But this is exactly what that looks like. And that would kind of continue to complete. I don't know that it goes this high. But I think that puts you more into earnings. And liquidity grabs would be like 25s.
Right. Yeah, and one thing is last week, I mean, there's two catalysts, maybe S&P inclusion. We'll see in a couple weeks if that happens. But the other thing is insiders have been selling a decent chunk and stock hasn't moved.
Who are the insiders, though?
CARP, the CEO, CFO, CTO, CRO, all of them.
Well, yeah, CFO is big.
I mean, it's the entire C-suite, CARP, Sham, all those guys, But they were selling at 32.50 the same week where the stock stayed at 32.50. Like there was just so many buyers for their shares.
Yeah. Well, this was, we're here at this first kind of gap right in here, which is why, this is that 31-ish level. It becomes a big deal. 31.30 up there. So thanks to our friends at Lux Algo. I don't know if they just gave me this stuff for free, and I have it on certain things. It actually shows this was a prior, what we call fair value gap. It's saying very similar to what I'm saying. It wants this to hold around 29.50 is what this is saying. So this area that was what we call a fair value before has now been filled. And so you really want to see it basically become support. I just don't know that holds your liquidity grabs. I still like 27.50 down in here.
Okay, that's fair.
Otherwise, this is where this would stop. I don't know. I think that's already been tagged. 29s and 37.50. 27.50 is like your deep value to me.
All right, can we do Robinhood?
Oh, dude, that thing started going today, huh?
I had a little bit of a move today. Had a nice move.
It did. So right over the 50. Was there news or no?
Dude, I think it was just because the market was pumping, really. I don't think there's any news.
The market didn't go anywhere, did it?
Well, no, you're right. Yeah, I mean, there was some crypto news, but I feel like the S&P getting closer to all-time highs is just...
Bro, the market... What was the market?
Well, we did go from 559 to 561.
Dude, come on.
Okay, then I don't know why Robinhood. I mean, maybe it's just the crypto news. Then I guess.
I see technicals that will support Robinhood, but I think this is super similar. So we had this prior kind of level in here, and we wanted to see this area become that kind of liquidity. It did for sure. It's a big level for as an aside, but 1950 was a big deal. I think it stays a big deal. I think you get up into these 23s for now. If I look at this on just a TA perspective, we're hitting essentially the 50-day simple moving average.
What is the 50-day average? It's 21, right? 21.5.
21.14 right now.
Okay.
And so that's the technical setup here is that we tested it once, we rejected, and then we pulled in, retested this high at 2050, and now we've extended through. So things get really choppy around these simple moving averages. Just to be
why do things get choppy around averages?
It's mostly this 200-day simple moving average, but why is a good question. I think it's like their trend lines more or less, but people are trying to decipher what direction they're going into, right? So this is choppy right here around that 20-day simple moving average.
Yeah, we stayed at 22 for 2 months, 3 months.
So that's what I mean, choppy. So it can look like it's going up one day and then poof, look like it's going down the next day. This is right around both the 20 and 50, and it could look like here. It looks like it's going up and then whoosh, it gets pulled back in. This happens to be earnings, but this is how it moves a lot. Like in any stock, regardless of earnings, any stock, it's like you want to see it get up there, but sometimes it takes a couple tries to really get over that 50-day simple moving average, like 1, 2. Even let's say something that doesn't have earnings SPY is going to be similar.
Jason, do you look at the 8 or 20 EMA?
Neither.
Okay. Understood.
Neither. Well, I'm sorry, 20,
Yeah.
50, and 200.
Okay.
And they're not EMAs, they're SMAs.
Gotcha.
Daily.
So overall, you think Hood's in a good technical spot and any good momentum into earnings likely is the next catalyst? Well, they do have an event in October. They have a big trader event.
Did you get me my beta?
No,
I asked you to.
I don't.
Did you put the request in for me, dude?
Unfortunately, no, I don't. I don't have the pull to get the beta yet. Not yet.
Really?
They invited me to the event, but I'm going to be in India, so I can't go. But
dude, what do you mean? Don't tell them that.
No, what do you mean? I'm going to be across the world. I can't go to their event.
I'll be there, but let me get a beta version of the software to test out. I'm actually, so we were on that space the other day. I think this is, you know, for Robinhood, this is important, right? Like Vlad keeps saying, hey, look, my goal is to take over the active trader world, right? Like we're world domination active traders. I'll tell you the stuff that I was just looking at, and the things that I do in real life, these are in real life. My analysis looks like this. If you don't know what this is, first of all, the stuff that Robinhood tries to show you is all whack. It doesn't work. I need these things. I need to be adjust for volatility. And be able to calculate how much volatility is going to change up, down, or sideways. It doesn't. All that Robinhood shows you right now is just at expiration, which is never really going to happen. I can't do any of that. So and I can't see flow. Right when we look at option chains, flow is more or less free. I can see what the at a glance, what's the highest volume option today versus open interest. What are the unusual, what we call UOAs, unusual options activity. So any day that there's more volume than open interest on a contract, that's the stuff that really jumps out at us and we want to pay attention to. I can't see that just at a glance on option chain for Robinhood. I have to go really deep. Yeah, Hood is for recreational traders. Hood should buy Tasty Trade. Yeah,
that would be interesting. Tasty is worth how much? A couple tens of millions? That wouldn't be a crazy.
I don't know, but I'm really interested. So my point was that as much as I love Hood, they have zero shot, and I mean zero shot at turning over the real active trading community. But Vlad, if you're watching, send me a beta. I will get all over this because I would love to see it. That would be, honestly, if this Robinhood platform has the real sauce, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer because that's the one piece. If that's really the goal, there's some serious room for improvement. And if they can actually pull that off, I'm just saying that's going to be a big deal. I watched with TJ. I don't know if TJ ever watches these streams, but I'll watch TJ's stuff and he's pulling up, sorting through his positions on the right hand side. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you're going to manage that many positions, scrolling through. I need to see it. Boom. One screen, everything. Net delta is long. What's my beta? As the portfolio, et cetera. How much money do I have at risk net versus my cash collateral, or cash in total, net in one poof. This is where it is.
Yeah, I think they know that. So it's now it's a question of if they can deliver on something really big. So I think you're right. Yeah. Okay, let's do CrowdStrike. And before you share that, we got a new PR by CrowdStrike after the bell. Right before earnings, CrowdStrike says we have secured the future of generative AI innovation in collaboration with Nvidia.
Yep. So last time we were on, I think I said, hey, this is a spot where it's time to take measures on CrowdStrike. It's come into a really critical, what we call order block. It pulled back a little bit, but and my biggest thing was hey, they're probably at risk of a pre-announcement. They haven't pre-announced. They're probably not going to pre-announce. So if that was going to happen, it would have happened already. So I think I still, from a price action perspective, it's still the same, just 275. I said it could get up to 280s right in here. That would be, boom, 281 right here.
Yeah.
This little order block. But this key section for now is going to be a big deal. I guarantee you after earnings, the stock is not going to be trading anywhere near this, right? Like wherever it's trading, I really don't know. I did take a look at some potential trades. I think again, Crowdstrike is heavy on the volatility here. What I looked at was something that's going to target into this area. So I think, like I said, I don't think that the numbers matter at all for CrowdStrike. I'm just going to put that out there. What their actual numbers are for this quarter, I just don't think is going to matter. I think it's 100% about the guide and the commentary around. I mean, everybody's like, hey, what's this going to look like? Look, if they were going to say something bad, then they would have done it already. So I think they're going to be super positive.
So you don't think the guide is going to be as bad as people think?
The guide might be a little bit lighter, but like they're going to color commentary the crap out of this. I guarantee you, right? Because like the thing is they would have pre-announced if they were going to be cautious. If they were going to be more cautious, they would have pre-announced already. That's just where I'm at. So I think that you could. So the way I would look at CrowdStrike, and I did something on Crowd. So again, volatility is extremely high. Historical volatility 56.4. Current vol is 100th is your double, right? The short dated options, you're going to get crushed in half. So 56% of IV is going to come down. Average move on CrowdStrike is about 8%. This is over the last 6 quarters, 12% the quarter before. I think it gets a little bit more, but the trade I did model has a break even at just under $320 and near zero downside. So like expecting 265. If the stock goes nowhere, then then you just basically break even. So that's what upper BE, lower BE means. And so this is kind of a neutral trade, risking 365 for a max of $5 upside. This is what it looks like. So it's selling an August 290 call. So August 30th, 290 call, and buying a September 290 call.
So
again.
You did a call debit spread.
No. So I did a call calendar. So I'm and this is how I trade earnings. So I sell that expensive volatility. So remember when I said, the short dated volatility is very overstated, 133%. I'm selling that. And instead of having stock as my collateral, I'm going to have a long dated option as my collateral. And I'm going to buy the long dated volatility. In this case, this was September 290 call, selling an August 30th 290 call against it for a net debit. Net out of pocket cost $360. After adjusting volatility, basically this is going to have break even on this is going to be just over 320, just under 320, so 318, and it can come down to about 262, give or take, which is like 2% lower. It could actually go like 2% lower, and I'll probably break even in reality. But best case, this lands about $290, and then I make probably like $500 off that. So if I pay 365, then that should be worth like closer, just under $900. Right. But the numbers work out on that essentially. So I'm risking 360 for upside here. I'm gonna do okay. 1, 2, so 18% for me. I would do good. I mean, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty solid, actually.
It's also a safe and consolidated way to play earnings, even though there is obviously risk towards it, but it's a bit.
Yeah, but it has some kind of downside protection. If I just went out and bought like an upside call, it's the same thing as like if you're looking at it, what are you going to do? Buy a $300 call? Like it's $375. It's the same price. This has some kind of downside protection on you. You're not going to lose money if it doesn't. Like it's got. If it goes sideways, I do okay. If it goes up, I do really good. If it goes down, depending on how far down, I'm just okay, right? Like it's not a lot of downside protection, but I think, like I said, I think if they were going to say something bad, they would have already. This is what we call this a directional calendar trade. So it can go down roughly 3% on this. We call this an analyzer. It says roughly 3%. You'd still make about $100 if it went down 3%. But if it could go up as high as 15%, obviously the higher it goes up, the less I make, because I would ideally like it to settle around that 290 strike, if that makes sense.
Right.
But this is where this is how I trade earnings. It's not a directional, like one way or the only other. I have some like what do you call this? Some protection one way, like on either side.
Right. Okay. Can we do SOFI?
SOFI. Yeah, we can do it.
Which has broke out a little bit from that 730 range that it was stuck in.
It looks really good. So this is the old chart that we had. We were looking at the 660 level. So the first, it broke, came back, retested. Right here is that same kind of downtrend. It looks good, but I just don't want to get too far ahead of myself on this. I still think this is Noto's time. It's in a box. Let's be fair. So this is the box that you're in. 750. It can come back, pull back and hold as long as it's over here. This 750 level, we're continuing on to the upside. SOFI gets really choppy. Oh, here you go. This is, I think, going to be key. Is there any technical?
8.3. Is there any technical 8.3? Yeah. Is there any technical analysis on it breaking 775? Was that a big level for it to break?
750.
750. Okay.
Yeah, 750 is kind of like that midpoint. It's still what we call like. That's that point of control for that area. So fixed volume profile. So a 750 point of control from here. Boom.
What does point of control mean?
That's in over time where it's traded the most, right? And so where the most interest from both buyers and sellers are, that is literally right here. So essentially this yellow line from this kind of pullback, this is September 2023. And all of this, including this top, the average price that this was traded at was 740. So about that 750 kind of level, that's that mid price. It's similar to Nvidia at 123. If it's over 123, you're in the uptrend. If it's below it, you're not going up right now. Just from a time and price perspective.
Right. I'm pretty bullish. I have some calls on this that are in the money. I think $8 end of the year is more likely, maybe $8.50. So
do you sell the 10s?
No, I got these calls when it was $4 in May. So they're up nicely, but they were $7 calls.
Nicely.
Well, so it's actually a spread. It's between 7 and 12. And the reason it's really up nicely is because I sold half of them last year, so it's basically house money. So if it goes to zero, it's not really a loss.
Okay.
But
I'm thinking it's house money though, right? Because it's your money. You worked hard for it.
That is correct. But right now it's worth $130 an option.
When is Futtbucker? Admit roll your profits.
Well, the thing is, I think with the rate cut, SOFI gets closer to 9, and then I have 30 of them. So I close if they get to about.
Well, dude, your poll said it's going to 70. So there's that.
That was in 10 years. But if SOFI gets closer to 9, I make about $6,000 versus $3,000 right now.
How are you calculating that?
So it expires in January.
Okay.
Stocks right now at 780.
You said it's a spread. It's a
7-12 spread. So I bought the 7, I sold the 12.
Got it.
For January 2025. The average cost is 93 cents, but average cost is basically zero because we took out our initial.
No, average cost 93 cents.
And it's 127 right now. So we're up 35%. And what I'm looking at is if SOFI gets closer to $8, that 135 gets closer to 200, which is a little bit more exciting than selling it at 135.
Yeah, I would say so. You know that the $12 strike's not doing a whole lot of favors for you either.
Correct.
So like, there's not necessarily. If you really wanted to simplify it, I would just turn it into an $8 call.
Yeah, no, I
straight
agree.
up because and then you put some money in your pocket.
Yeah.
But SOFI still that volatility thing that we looked at last time, still dirt cheap, still extremely low, still right at that simple point of control. I think that spread might do more harm for you than good
Well, that's why I want to get out of it soon because it's getting closer to expiration. But I just don't. I think SoFi is closer to 859 by the end of the year, and that's when it has a little bit more premium.
I thought you were going in the June 2026 $10.
No, this is stuff I bought last year. This is old.
So we roll into the June 2026 $10 calls. Then you're all the way out, right? But no, I think it's good. I don't know. The thing when I'm talking about this volatility, if it goes up too fast, right? Both of those calls are going to increase in premiums, but that $12 call that you're short is going to increase faster than your $7 call. So that's why it would squeeze that. But if you're saying you want to get out for 2, I don't really see that being a big deal.
And when I bought these spreads in May of 2023, I thought there's no chance SoFi is below $10, 2 years out, a year and a half out. But this is what happens in the market sometimes, right? Like fucking SoFi shit the bed for the last 18 months.
Yeah. I mean, you were here $12. You're essentially trading this range, this whole entire. You're taking this top and this bottom, and you're trading here.
Yeah.
Which, quite frankly, if it really does break out, I think that 12 is technically that 12 should be like, see you later, bye.
Correct.
Right. And then that's why I say it'll probably be more harm than good, but you don't want to wait around for that data to come. Right. This 830 or whatever level, I'm sure that your guys know it's going to be a big deal.
Oh, dude, even $8. There were 250,000 shares waiting today to be sold at $8. Like there was the sell wall there was insane. But the thing is, it's $8. Like when you get the buyers to come in, I mean, $8 is.
What's the market cap on this guy now?
7 billion, 7.5, something like that. Maybe 8 billion.
I mean, it's not big.
The only reason SoFi is stuck under 10 is because it's still being valued on price to tangible book value as a bank. That is the only reason it's stuck in this range. If that was not the valuation metric, it'd be $14-15. But that's the current metric, or at least that's what I think the street uses to value it.
That's probably fair. So, I mean, okay. I still think like this $14 area is more my speed up in here.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do Rocket Lab?
Yeah. I haven't sold any. Did you sell any?
No. I mean, I still have like 40 shares. Not a lot.
4 shares.
40 shares.
Oh, okay.
But it's up. It's up.
We should do one. We'll have to do a buy at 578. So I think it's fine. It's still in consolidation. When I asked you first about this stock, like way back in there, you're like, hey, yeah, no, it moves on these launches and stuff. So unless Rocket Lab gets called in to save Starliner or whatever it was a Boeing thing. Hey, look, if they get a phone call, that's gonna be crazy, but it's not happening. But yeah, I think it pulls back into this like high 5s for sure. And that would actually, so what we'd like to see happen is we would like to see it do one more down day, right? Ideally, one more down day, kind of retest, maybe even a little bit of liquidity grab, could be like medium 5s. And then a flat day that pops up and then lock in a lower high. That's what we want to see. So what that looks like, not from an arrow perspective, it looks like this. One more day down. Can you see this?
Yep.
Let me make this. One more day down. Then I want to see like a flat day like this. That's just inside. Will make you green. I might even like to see like a little bit of a lower hanging wick on this.
Dude, that's the word. I was wondering, what is that word called? And you just said it. I was been thinking for 3 days. It's a wick. I was like, what is that word when it goes all the way down real quick and then comes back? It's a wick. That's what it is.
Yeah. So what this would look like, dude, my art skills are really lacking right now. So I'd like to see this wick can come down as low as I want, but we call this a hammer candle, right? So this is daily. So one more red day is fine. We can have it like, and then I want to see it open red, close green. Does that make sense? Yeah. Open red, close green 2 days from now. That's ideal. That's the day you hammer long because we go. And then I want to see that. That's ideal.
I think the ASTS space phenomena is what's causing all this volatility for Rocket Lab.
I don't know anything about ASTS, dude. But I think that your point was, and this is like, seriously, that would be great. But I don't know if it goes literally to the moon or not. I'm not like too. I know the valuation's like was $3 billion. It's fine. I don't know what they have in terms of upcoming catalysts on this one.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
what I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Oh, we suck, dude. We need to step our games up. But one more red day is fine. Then I'm looking for either like a big green hammer candle like this, which means hammer candle green means like open red, close green. When you have those kind of days, that's good. And that's going to mark kind of like your point of interest, because it doesn't mean that it's immediately going up. You could have worst case scenarios. This just goes like completely sideways like this for a really long time, which, to be fair, is very possible. I don't really want to see that.
Okay, can we do quickly Pinduoduo?
Oh, dude, China is a perpetual short.
I agree with you, but there are some people that think it's a dip buy right here.
You talking about the Chinese spyware company?
The one that owns Temu.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one. Yeah.
No. On a technical perspective, outside of the China bias, does anything look exciting here?
What do you mean outside of the China bias? So, like, how can you be outside of the China? I'm sorry.
I'm saying if you saw the chart and
this
didn't
is like,
know the
guys,
company.
this is like me talking to Buddy right now with the
No. Seriously, if you saw the chart but didn't know what the company does, how would you think of it?
Han Solo? Even Chinese people know Chinese stocks are trash. I love this. So, like, look, dude, if you think that Chinese stocks move on valuation or the macro, I think you're missing something. Like, you're missing the bigger picture, right? Chinese stocks definitely move on technicals and technicals alone. Valuation aside, Baba and the like have been, undervalued forever. But $95, I think, so this has to lock in a higher low. I think that you have this gap at 80s, in the 80s, to be completely fair. I think that's an earnings gap. But if it doesn't get back over 100, so I would play it like this. Yeah, we'll bring Michael Burry on. He's been wrong for, so like, if it gets back over 100, that's fine. First of all, PDD, it's like 9% of the KWeb, but it's not actually listed. It's not like a Chinese listed ticker. I think it's listed in like Dublin or something.
Yes.
Downside, I think, is 80, give or take here, but you have to see it back over really this hump. That's essentially 100. If you're trading back over 100, sure, and you want to take it for a trade, go for it, right? And I think you can, like, look, that's a big move. 100 to 148, 150. That's a huge percentage gain just on equity alone. But I don't think this is not giving you any signs from a technical perspective of a reversal today. People like to talk about RSI and oversold, this, that, and the other. I think that's the absolute worst indicator in the world. I just really do. If you want to look at oversold and things like that, like, the way that you do that is you look at divergence. Are you familiar with divergence?
I've heard of the term, but from a technical perspective, not
so
sure.
It's only like if, yeah, sure, you're at 20s, RSIs, whatever. Look, it can be down here forever. Just here, perfect example. Lulu on a daily. No, I'm just saying on a daily, right? Like, this was way low. So here, higher low, lower low, even still, like, this divergence. It's not until it's coming back up over these 30s, like on a weekly, this is like Lulu. It can be oversold. Look, Lulu was quote unquote oversold at, I don't know, 290. This is, right here, 299, and just continue to go lower. So I think that's my point, right? Like, you got to be really careful with oversold, and I think that's what a lot of people are talking about. So that was my only point in bringing it up.
But overall, to put a bow on it, you don't like it because it's China. That's the issue.
Yeah,
I mean, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, I think it's a trading vehicle because it's China, right? And so like until I get a technical signal that's over 105, I'm not looking to jump in on this because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that are looking to continue to smack this to the downside.
Right.
I don't even know what the like FinViz or like what the short interest on this is, but you never know. I think you could get to 81 if it doesn't turn around. We're about face here pretty quick, but that's kind of where you're looking. You're way beyond all these SMAs. You're at the 200-week simple moving average. That's that purple line. Remember, that's a big one that comes in. So 99, give or take 100. That is the 200-week simple moving average. What I need to see here, if I wanted to go long, is like, let's say one more day, another day like this. That's that same kind of like green hammer with the wick to the downside, if that makes sense. And then it's not even that day that you go long. It's like the next day if you have an open above, whatever that day is. So low, if I see like a higher low below the 200-week simple moving average, which is going to set up just about $100.
Right.
That's what you have to see. So not today, not tomorrow. It might be higher before I would be ready to go long on this one.
Okay. Before we do the next ticker, real quick, guys, Jason, his Twitter is here in the chat. If you want to get more access to all of the stuff he talks about, his Discord, his private group, all that stuff, you can get it in the links on his Twitter. But we appreciate Jason coming on every week and spending a couple hours breaking the
Joe Moore. Temu sells junk that dog done hunting.
Have you ordered anything from Temu? Have you ever?
No, dude. So look, Temu's business model is not even selling. I don't think they make any money selling the swag on Temu. They're in the business of selling your information, right? Like that's why.
You're probably right because everything is at cost or below cost on.
No. I mean, that's the value is the database, but that's why I said Chinese spyware. I was joking, not joking.
Okay, can we do something that had a short report on it today?
SMCI.
SMCI. Before we get into it, what are your thoughts on short reports in general?
I think it depends on who it's coming from for sure. But this was so you have to be very careful because you got to know that they're already short. And they were probably short at the lows, and they might be looking for exit liquidity. A lot of times people like pay for, I forgot who it was. This was who was it? It was the big one. Hindenburg. Yeah. Hindenburg's usually like they have a good reputation. And I think their report was on accounting errors, or not accounting errors, but this one I believe. They call it accounting fraud, I believe. But remember we talked about this company. I liked it for a bounce. You tried to talk me out of not selling it. I ditched it. I'm joking. I ditched it today.
You had SMCI. I didn't know you had SMCI.
Yeah. No, I bought it in here like fives. And I think I took a little, but I was out yesterday, and today I was like instantly, no, get out of here. But yeah, I just, for me, I'd much rather be in Dell or something like that. It's just not my favorite one. The company execs, I'm not a fan of. I don't think this is undervalued, to be completely fair, or overvalued. I actually think that this is fairly priced. So it could come down. I think it could come down like into that 340s level, 350s, and still be like, that would be your ultimate pullback retest. Until then, if it does lose this 550 in strength, and definitively 472, so 473 was this downside target, and it's really all the way down to this 350 right here. And so in the only thing, this is a volume gap, a big one where like no trade happened right here, but that's because this was an earnings move. Oops, I might have to take that back. No, so the earnings move was here. This was a pre-announcement.
Yeah.
So this was their pre-announcement. So 350s.
The reason they tanked on earnings was because of operating margins a couple of weeks ago. but they raised guidance.
Have you ever heard these guys on their calls?
Yeah, it's not a fun.
They're
call.
not the most polished team. So I think, you know, there could be some validity to that Hindenburg report. But look, if you like the company, this is another one where I can be like, look, if you like it at 550, you better damn well love it at 350. Right. And like, what's your upside? I don't think it's overvalued, to be completely fair. Even though the stock is like way high, it was just at 15 billion or whatever it was, probably extremely undervalued. Yeah, now it's 30. But yeah, I don't think there's a huge amount of downside. Like, they're the same guys that had the short report on Square.
Yeah, but that short report was horrible, dude. It was so bad.
Right. But like, what was you remember their thesis on that? Well, I guess you did.
The thesis was rappers are trapping and selling drugs on Cash App. Like, that was the thesis, dude. It was so bad. And the stock barely moved on the short report. I don't even know if they made money on it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one where like they were like, hey, look, most of their clients are, just like, you know, oh, Square is the new Silk Road kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
dude, like, what type of nonsense? Like you could talk about stock-based compensation. You're going to talk about the rappers.
Look, I think they also had a short report on one of my holdings, my equity holdings, Equinix. This is
this one I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm long this stock, right? This is data centers. It's not Jim. These are data centers. This is like data center REIT. But yeah, I'm long.
Dude, who pays $300 a month for an Equinox subscription at the gym? Like, who does that? Do you do that? Because I pay $30 a month. I don't pay $300.
I used to, dude. I paid it, but look at me, dude. I used to be ripped, not anymore. This
dude, if you pay $300 a month, you've got to be ripped. If you're paying $300 a month for the gym,
no. You like to play tennis or racquetball. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
right?
probably true.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you show us Dell, which is a better SMCI kind of?
I like Dell. Michael's selling a lot of stock too, but like I like Dell here. I think that this gets into the 120 area. I would love to say that it gets to like 130s again. I still think that the market has a hard time like digesting Dell as a business overall. They kind of always have. But you know, this 127-ish level, I'm looking for this area in here. So right around 125, just under 125s on earnings. I'm gonna go out. I'm probably gonna take a directional one on this one, but if you thought like the way that I trade earnings might be a little weird of what I just showed you, I'll just say like it's probably gonna be equally as weird. But I'm telling you, this is the only way that you can this is the only way to trade earnings. And if you're not doing it that way, you're literally just gambling. But I think as long as you're holding like over this 110 level, getting to these low 120s is very much in the cards. What happens from here though, that's TBD. So I'm looking kind of to fill this area, possibly pull back a little bit from there and then continuing on. You know, up in the 180s, I had no business up there in that short of time to me. We did send a sell like on this, but it's been reaccumulate buys ever since like failing below 125. So I think 125 is fair and maybe gets back over that level, but I think it needs to grow into that valuation, if that makes sense. So to me, for Dell in this lower box, this is my accumulation zone. Here.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. We heard their CTO talk today as well, and you know it's really interesting how they're thinking of.
They did lay off a lot of people too, so I mean, there's some little stuff. I think this one actually like really stood out to me. But there was 122 and 120 calls. This was the same thing. It was like looking to like buy and going long September 120 calls, and then selling against that the 122 calls. So it's a $2 wide. Well, this is called a diagonal. Are you familiar with that? Probably not.
No.
So anytime I do this, I'm not using the stock as collateral. I'm using a longer dated option as collateral. I know that currently, so the Dell is the same thing. Historical volatility on Dell, 66.8%. Let me see if I could pull this up on a different screen. 66
Why is the volatility on Dell and CrowdStrike
like this? Whenever you have earnings, right? So whenever you have earnings, these 93% elevated. The options model, basically every time there's an earnings report, the guaranteed stock will gap, right? Whether or not it gaps up or down, the options market doesn't care. The options market is just about probabilities and what they'll call like oh my God. Hello. Just it's the probabilities and like the
potential of an event.
I want to say standard deviation, but that's not really. So standard deviation is fine, right? But it's like how far up or down is the average move, right? So last quarter, Dell moves 18%, right? The implied move is 12.5%. Quarter before that, 31% against a 9.2% implied move, right? So the quarter before that moved 5%. They're not, the option market doesn't care whether or not it was up or down move. What it's looking at is how much it moves. So what's true is that the option market knows whenever there's an earnings report, Dell moves a significant amount, right? So what you have to do as an options trader is you have to say, okay, what is the average move? So you take the last 6, you add them together, divide by 6. The average move is 13.5% for Dell, right? So right now, what's Dell pricing in? It's actually pricing in slightly lower than 13.5%. So the average move is $15.10. It's pricing in like a 10% move or less than like, what is it, 12% move on Dell right now. So slightly underpriced. I can take a small directional trade on this for Dell, targeting that 120, 125 kind of area. But by going out to December, buying a 120 call, which let me just pull that up. In its own right would cost a pretty penny, right? So that, remember that 12%, 15% move is implied. That's a $520 strike by itself. So that means that Dell would have to get over $125 for me to think that I'm going to make any money. But I just told you that my target's more around that 125. So that's not really going to work out for me. So instead, what I did was I went shorter dated, in this case, the shortest dated of that August 30, and I sold a 122 call, and I collected $285 for that strike. Net, now my outlay is cut in half. It's more than half, right? So if it was 500 something for the 120 call, I'm pulling in $300 for the 122 call. I'm left with this kind of skew, right? Which I remember I said I think that 110 kind of holds. That's the low here, my break evens. Ideally, 122 is where this chills, and I will make money. Basically, I have no downside if it goes up too high, right? I'll still make money at 130s, 160s. People think that because you sell a short dated call in this instance, this is the instance where you can sell a short dated call and you're still going to make money if the stock goes completely through your strike price. But that's because you have this longer dated call as your collateral. And remember, options are all based on like the probability of something expiring in the money. That longer call, that means that longer call has more time value, and therefore the premiums are going to move. They're going to be worth a little bit more. And that short dated call, that's the one that's going to get crushed heavily as in it's going to drop down. And I calculated this already. The IV is going to drop about 70% in value just from a premium perspective here.
So the goal is to collect premium from the short dated call you sold, to have that go to zero. You want to see that happen. And then you want the long call that you bought for September for the stock to recover and eventually get closer to those 120 levels, because it'll net based on premium.
No, the long call for September, it can go down in value too. But I just need it to go down in value less than the 122 call goes down in value. And that difference is my edge. That's actually that's how you make money with this, right?
So what's the most ideal range for the stock to be in for this to print for you by September 2024?
Anywhere around 120 to 130 is fine. 125 is ideal. 122, anything like 120, if it closes, so first of all, this short dated call option, that's going to fall off by Friday. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And after Friday's expiration, I then have the option. Do I want to continue to sell upside calls against my September strike, or do I just want to close this out in its entirety? So let's say if it goes to 125, right? Do I want to roll this 122 call up and out one more week by week, or do I just want to take this whole thing down and book it as a profit? And that's the latter is what I would predominantly do.
So what's the total risk on this then?
The net risk, $220 net, is whatever you pay, that's your maximum risk. Unlike a credit spread, where if you're receiving a credit, that's where you can lose more than you receive.
Yep.
You never have that and that is why this situation is I never do this. Even if Dell were to fly up, this is worst case scenario. Let's say Dell reports and they're now at 145, and I've sold this 122 call. Worst case scenario, somebody hits execute on their end, they execute, and I'm short 100 shares at 122
right
of Dell. I've then collected all that premium that I already sold. That goes in my pocket, number one. But even though I might be short the stock, I'm long a deep in the money call, which is going to offset all that risk. So the idea here is no matter what the situation is, even in that case, I'm still going to make money because that premium is going to have time value and I'm going to still be making money. Even if I'm short stock, my premium is going to be going up, right? So I'm still going to be fine in that instance. And again,
you would sell the long dated call to have the cash to buy the 100 shares to give.
That would just be closing the trade.
Got it.
That would literally be closing the trade. So that's how that would work. So there's no situation, even in your worst nightmare situation, if something like that happens, which that does happen, where you're not protected in this type of strategy. But again, this is called a time spread, where you're buying long dated calls and selling short dated premium against them. As your collateral.
This is good stuff, dude. We haven't got this on the channel before.
This is by far and away the best, only way to trade earnings. It's always gambling unless you do this data. This data right here is what takes it out, where I can then find. So the one that's not a gamble, pretty simple to me, it would actually be Ulta. Ulta has an implied average move of 6%. I have a trade here that can make money if it goes up 6.46 or down 6.4% in either direction. 2.5% move last quarter, 5%. There's two outlier quarters here that were large moves over the average, almost double the average. So the way I look at this is that if of six quarters for me, so 2 out of 6 I would have lost. That's about a 70%, give or take, average win rate. If you want to call it that way, it's over the last year and a half. I can take a trade here, risking $1.60 to collect $220 back. So that would put this at about $380 max value. This is straight across, totally neutral, selling a $370 put for Friday, and then buying not further date, but just next week's 370 put. And this is my pay scale right here, where I don't care where the stock moves. This is the midline, 370. That's ideal. It can go down to 350. I make money. It can go up to 390. I make money. So I don't care where Ulta goes in this situation. I just care that it doesn't go like through the moon. It doesn't go more or less more than 10% by Friday's expiration. And I think these statistics actually justify that, at least from more than 50% probability.
Yeah. And let me just take this chance to say, and let's move on to HIMS, Jason. So we'll go to HIMS on TA. Again, guys, none of this is financial advice. I know this stuff looks really cool, but Jason is a really, really big pro. He's been doing this for decades. So I hope this is really good educational information to see what this stuff looks like, because I'm taking it in as education, not to follow these trades, because obviously you really, really got to understand the data if you're going to try to follow this stuff. But this is really good stuff in terms of the broader education
that we do in the group. But so moving forward, so HIMS, this is a lot about, so did you get the headlines?
Yeah, Eli Lilly released a 50% less competitor.
I think more than that. I think
Eli, it's not really a competitor. It's another version of Ozempic that's 50% less, which is eating into HIMS's margins, essentially.
Well, I think more than that, Eli Lilly has a direct-to-consumer platform.
No, that's Pfizer.
I'm sorry. So both
yeah,
of those.
But I don't think it's the Pfizer news. I think it's the Eli Lilly news. The Pfizer news is Maybe it's both, but Eli Lilly.
Whatever. Do you here? It's I feel like it's a lot of the Pfizer stuff. You know, yeah, direct to consumer would be that Pfizer stuff. So HIMSS, that's their thing, right? So if the large manufacturers actually do, I mean, how difficult would it be for Lilly to launch a direct to consumer? I mean, they'd have to still go through insurance.
Well, so this brings up the perpetual question around, does HIMSS have a moat? Because their growth is amazing, but can they be, can they just be destroyed if someone big tries to take them out? I don't know the answer to that yet. I don't know. But I don't think them growing 60% year over year, now GAAP profitable, $3 billion market cap, 3 times price of sales, I don't think those fundamentals get any less attractive because Eli Lilly is a little bit more exciting, So
I think it's the direct to consumer stuff. I think it's about, I agree with that point that you just said, because they would still be a beneficiary, right? I guess it's,
and also GLP,
needle, right?
The TAM for Ozempic is, if you believe the Goldman Sachs research, it's really big. Like Eli Lilly's not gonna have a monopoly on Ozempic.
Yeah, and I mean, Eli Lilly's not going to have it, but regardless, HIMSS would stand to benefit from whoever it is, right? Whether it's Pfizer, Lilly, Novo, or whoever, right? Like, or even Merck, right? Like whoever comes out with it, they would stand AbbVie to benefit. So I think it's just strictly about your question of the moat, right? And so that kind of brings me to the Pfizer thing, was like, well, first of all, HIMSS is not the only game in town for this stuff, right? Yeah, like, we don't have Teladoc popping off, right? Because you could do that in Teladoc, can you not?
Teladoc is just stupid, dude. Like the whole.
But couldn't you get some of this stuff through Teladoc? I mean,
they don't have an e-commerce platform.
Try really quick.
They don't have an e-com app the way HIMSS does, from my understanding. And they're definitely not growing 60%. That's also not.
No, they definitely have an app. Right. Yeah. So I think it's just about the moat, and maybe I don't understand it as much, to be fair, right? But I would be hard pressed to say that HIMSS is. Look, I don't use it, so I don't really have an opinion.
But in terms of the technicals, do you think 6% down is exciting at these levels, or what do you think?
No. I mean,
like you would like to see it go lower before you would even think of getting excited.
I mean, it's not like, look, I don't think that it was ever, I think it was fully valued at 25.
I agree.
Right? Like fully valued. And then you have the lawsuit stuff that comes out and they're like, oh, well, people are taking too much, et cetera, et cetera. And now you have a couple of things. So you don't have things, waves usually come in threes. I'd say 1250. Bad news comes in threes. So you got one more headline of whatever it happens to be, to this 1260-ish area. So this was retested here once and it held, I think, just slightly higher than that. You're really close. It's just the same thing. So this is a candle. It's an interesting candle, where like you have an open red, but it just so the way that this candle looks is it just continued to flush throughout the day. This is all pre-market and no buyers stepped in. So at the very worst, right? So you're here. You need to see this. If it instantly reverses tomorrow, I think this is something you watch like early in trade. And if you get back over 15 and change, you're probably good.
Right.
If that makes sense. So 1550, I would say this level right here, which makes this into a liquidity grab. And if it does close green tomorrow, this right here will turn into what we would call like a double bottom. So at least from a short-term perspective, yes, that would look very good constructively. If this becomes that, like, essentially double bottom. So you didn't break that today. And if they don't break it tomorrow, it's going to go up, because worst case, if you look at it this way, if they can't push it down, it's got to go higher, right? Yeah. To eventually come back down. It has to do that. So it could be a long. I don't know if this is going to happen, but it would be a long off this just simple, double bottom tomorrow. That's if it's closing green. If it's closing green tomorrow, it's up to me. And definitely if it's over 1550. But I don't, at this point right here, right now, I don't have anything that's saying, hey, jump into this right now, because this could go lower tomorrow. And in that case, you're going lower. And I don't need to be catching that knife necessarily. This is just because I don't know it that well. It's not like Rivian, right? Where I'm like, I'm comfortable saying, hey, look, I'm going to catch this knife at $13 and then we're going to bounce.
Where is it at right now? Rivian's at 14?
14.50.
Okay, not bad.
But like it's just like, hey, I'm familiar with the stock, but I'm not as familiar with HIMS.
Okay, speaking of HIMS, then can we do Moderna? Someone in the chat says it's a $30 billion company, severely declining revenues. I work as a pharmacist, and no one gets Moderna vaccines anymore.
No, it's not about. It's about the cash burn. Also, this is a short. I'm not even looking at the chart. The Moderna is a short.
I mean, after COVID, dude, the business kind of did take.
Yeah, so it's a short, but it's not like a heavy short, because they could change a lot of stuff. It was a short. You lost. It was a short up here. It definitively short up here. I think it's about the cash burn, right? So it becomes one of those situations where, like, unless Moderna either cures cancer, which is a real thing, right? Like either cures cancer with their tech, or there's a Moderna weight loss drug. Are they working on it? I don't know, but that's the thing, right? So it's what is the pipeline on this guy? And so without looking at PDUFA, whatever the schedules,
didn't they go public in 2021 or 2020?
Yeah. So I bought Moderna at 20, like sub $20, dude. Like down here.
This is what 2020, 2019 is when you bought it.
Yeah. Like basically. In this area, I bought it. And I did not ride the whole. Oops, what just happened? I sold it in here, dude. Like, I'm pretty positive I sold it in here. And then it proceeded to go to like,
oh my God,
way up here. No, I never saw that coming.
Well, that was because of the pandemic. Yeah, you didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like the MRNA tech. I actually didn't mind the CEO. This is not like a Novavax CEO where like that is a bad company. Like this is a dollar stock. Even up here, this should be $1. But like, yeah, this was another one up here in the 300s where like this should be $1.50 stock, and it makes these round trips all the time. Is that crazy?
That is very crazy. Okay, can we do Carnival Cruise?
1, 2, 3 times it's made this round trip. It's a short.
Yeah.
But CCL, yeah. So, anyways, I don't think the Moderna CEO is nearly as bad as the.
And the problem with Moderna in general is there's not a catalyst that's really exciting.
It's not a catalyst, and it's heavy cash burn.
Yeah. You own these, right? You own the cruises a little bit. You own something?
Yeah. But they were not looking good for a while. Like they were looking really bad, dude.
Yeah.
So it did not get over. Came back, retest this liquidity, run more time. This is frustrating. Like, to be fair, this is extremely frustrating. Technically, what's constructive about this? Actually, I think this is. Oh God. You're going to make me put something else on this. This should be go time.
I agree, especially with the rate cuts.
It should be go time. This is the prior. So breakout, short, retest. So have you ever heard the phrase, there's no such thing as a triple top?
No.
It's a funny saying for traders. No such thing as triple top. 1, 2, 3. The way you take that is after the third attempt, it's going to break through. So if this is that door, that wall of resistance, 3 times, fine, it could fail. But the 4th time, she's breaking through. So
is there any chance she breaks down? It could go to the upper downside on that triple top? Or I
mean, the problem is that this is a big pullback. So it's really going to depend on the velocity. So it's possible that it goes like this, right? It has a little bit of stutter step. But this,
because the thing is, the earnings on the cruise lines are great, but I think it's perception around the consumer right now that might be creating some issues.
is it that?
I mean, I really don't know, because I think the consumer's okay. I think the jobs report is fine. We got rate cuts coming. Earnings are great. They're profitable. So I'm not really sure what's holding them back.
Well, Norwegian and Carnival took a lot of like assistance from the government too.
I mean, yeah, they have a lot of debt, but if you look past that debt and if you look at what the rate cuts does to the refinancing of their debt,
yeah,
it shouldn't be an issue theoretically.
Theoretically, right? So I like this over 16 in general. This is that order block here, holding here. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit more and tag this guy, 17. So 17 was a breakdown here, holding up here, resistance here, pushing down, resistance here, support. I like 17. You're sitting on it right now. So I think it's at a key level for me. So I think in this trajectory up, so you see like this little triangle that I have drawn here. So this little triangle here, we're going to see a series of these, just like we've seen so far, right? So I think what you're looking for is this. So you have this one here that you got, right? Then you got another one here. These are those flags. You remember asking about the flags? Yeah. So these are your flags, your like series of flag poles.
These are bullish flags, right? Because the
break, bear flag or bull flag here. And so I think that we get something similar somewhere up here that ends up looking like this. So I would expect one more push to hit right into here, this 18. Oops. This, get some chop like for a week or two. And then this next impulse, whatever that looks like, should be good. But it's got to be breaking over 17.25. It's got to be holding well over that 17.25 right here. So the next high can be a lower high up to 1850. I don't think it's like now go. I think it'll come up here, then it'll come back down, give you another one of these little triangles, little flaggers, and then depending on where that kind of lands, good to go. Hopefully. So, okay. Chris, it's time to add.
Yeah, Chris is loaded up. Chris is loaded up, dude. Trust me, he's fucking loaded.
I mean, so look, dude, the rate cuts are coming, right? Like he said, they're coming. I just, it's still the question of like how much and what's the trajectory, right? So
it's going to be 25. My question is how the market's going to react as soon as it happens. I don't think there's a debate about 25 or 50. They're not doing 50. There's just.
Dude, some weirdos will be like, oh, it's 50. I'm like, yeah, no,
if the jobs report takes a shit in September 6th, we might have 50. But if the jobs report is normal, they're not doing 50.
Dude, no, like how deep would a shit have to be? It would have to be pretty bad.
We would have to add 100,000 or less jobs. The expectation is closer to 140-ish, 150.
Right. So that would be like insane. And that would be a knee-jerk down, probably.
Yes, immediately. Which 5% down, 5% down immediately, dude. I mean, no, dude, because then the market's going to price in a fucking recession, dude.
Bingo. No
problem.
And that would be, so that day will be September, what, 5th or something? 6th. So September 6th. Oh, there was a lot of flow on SPY September 6th today.
I'm telling you that day is more important than Nvidia. I'm saying
I don't disagree. There was a ton. Oh, Amit.
Dude, September 6th is like scary.
So this series strike jumped out at me like crazy today. Go ahead, pull up your option chain, open your little Robinhood app.
Did you say? Did you just marginalize me? Open my little Robinhood app.
Yeah. Do me a favor. This is gonna blow your mind. I was looking at this and I'm like, why would they do this? Go to September 6th expiration, 10 days from today.
On the SPY?
On the SPY. And then look at the 478 strike put.
Oh my God. All right.
It's 7 cents. And look at the volume.
Holy shit.
Right? Why? I'm like, what? I'm like, what the is that?
So it's 6,200 today.
So just so you guys know, as a trade, when I said UOA or unusual options activity, that's the stuff I'm hunting for. What that is when the volume, so the amount of contracts traded today outpaces the open interest. And the more that, from a ratio perspective, the higher that ratio is, the more interested I get into like, why would somebody do that?
Wait, I have a question. How can the open interest be that much less than the volume? Doesn't it have to be open for it to be traded technically?
Right. No. So the open interest is what was owned coming into today.
Oh.
And the volume is what was traded today.
So tomorrow that open interest will be closer to 6,000.
If they didn't, so volume is what's traded today. So it's possible that they bought 3,100 and then they turned around and sold 3,100 and said, oh shit, my bad. I didn't mean to do all that. Like that's always a thing. So tomorrow, if the open interest is, tomorrow, if the open interest is more than 6,200, then you know that they still have them.
Yeah.
So that's important to note.
Why 478? You think that's random? Is that a Fibonacci?
Well, look at this. Look at this. So it just makes no sense to me. So there's another order that shot out September 20th. September 20th, SPY strike 570 call. So get this.
Holy shit, dude. Oh,
those were all sold by one trader. Someone
sold 60,000 calls?
No, a single trader. It could be one of those funds. I don't know. Like when I say one of those funds, you know, like they have the covered call type funds. It could be like a JP Morgan caller of some sort. It's not, I don't think so, but someone sold 55,000 of those in a single order. One trader sold 55,000, one order.
Holy crap, dude. That's kind of bearish, right? Because that's a sold call, right?
It's not bullish.
It's not bullish, yeah.
It's more.
September is going to be interesting, bro.
Yeah. So this is the stuff that we're looking for. But like, look, just so you know, these are really weird things happening in the option flow today. But yeah, there's a new segment for you. Unusual flows.
No, that's good. That's good stuff. Okay, let's do a little bit of the large caps, and then I'll get you out of here, Jason.
Yeah,
maybe Meta.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do Amazon.
I'll do Amazon after Meta.
So of all the mega caps, this is the same thing. Remember that triple top 1, 2, 3. Do we have 3 tops? I don't know. The next time of all the mega caps, this one looks the most constructive to me. Today we had a little bit of that same kind of double bottom. I actually took this long today for a day trade. I don't know if it's gonna stay long, but this, boom. 514, little wick, double bottom today. This is constructive. Oops. Hopefully it holds. And if it starts to go back to the upside over 524, 525. So what you want to see is this area here, reclaim. The bad part about this is not a higher high yet. Like it's not breaking through. So these are that prior lows. So this is that prior support. Right now it's still resistance. What you want to see is it get over and then act as support. And then you should be able to go. Until then, I think this is mostly neutral. You definitely have some buyers like with interest here off of this level. So that's just under 515. I'm just pulling this back. There's a lot of I didn't know this was that big of a. Yeah, so this is that 515, pretty heavy pivot. If it loses that, then we definitely go very deep into this sub 500s.
Right.
To be fair. So it's crucial that this 515 holds. And as long as that does hold, then I think ideally what you're looking at is this whole area becoming that kind of like accumulation, and people staying long. Otherwise, sub 515, they're going to start throwing it away, and it could be a decent pullback from a trading perspective. From a investing perspective, again, put the other hat on. This is the best, most constructive of the Mag 7 in my mind for like bullish continuation.
Yeah, I agree. It was at all-time highs.
Even this pullback, even if it does get to 485, look, it's still in an uptrend, right? Yeah. Like it's still constructive. But 535s, this was kind of technically like, okay, your sell zone. And then, so the question now is like, where do you reaccumulate? I wouldn't be a buyer personally, 515, but, we did see them step in this morning. To me, it's like it's in this sub 485 would be where I would be more interested in really reaccumulating. So if it doesn't go, I would expect that to happen. And I would not sell any shares because this still looks like it's going to be continuation upside.
Let me quickly ask you philosophically before we get into Amazon. Do you think large caps can put up numbers that can actually expand multiples in Q3, given how much they've run so far? Because it's hard for me to think Meta's at 600 at the end of the year, unless they have like a crazy Q3, which maybe happens, but
I mean, some of them, I don't think Meta necessarily. I'm really hoping for Google. I mean, Google, Amazon. Got Google. I don't care, whatever.
Well, what did you say right there? Hold on. We got a Google bull here? What's going on?
No, like Amazon does not look that great, to be fair, short term. So it's gonna come into this kind of like area of consolidation here. So this, I just did that like time at price kind of thing. This brings you to that 165, which was always my level. So like, and the reason why I have it at 165 is because of this whole consolidation. It's right in here. So Amazon might come in and do another little hoo-ha like that. This looks more like a pre-gone conclusion. It's going to come down to Nvidia, and then it's going to be, so it's Nvidia, then PCE, and then look, if Amazon sub 165s, then then I have to. No, I'm not selling this. I'm not selling this. Because look, in 3 months' time, I still firmly believe we're going to be in a Goldilocks scenario, whatever the market says. That's just me. So I think it could be rough. It could be choppy. Yeah, sub 170s if we get another dip on Amazon. But right now, the look is not ideal, to be fair. Like this whole thing, we just went up, retested, and then failed essentially at that prior trend line.
Yeah, and it's weird, dude. You would think this one has momentum, but like
it's the freaking e-commerce, dude. You were talking about like market multiples. What's the strong?
Oh, I was going to ask you about this one. What do you think about Netflix? Yeah.
Look, like, I trade a lot on Spaces with a lot of the other crews that we talk to a lot, like Evan, Stock Market News, Evan. Like we were looking at Netflix, like around here. I was like, look, I can easily see this at $300, going to 700. But this is that mid cap area, right? So Netflix is not a mega cap, and so to your point, at 300 billion, it's getting up there. 300 billion, that's like half a Tesla.
I can't imagine paying that for Netflix, dude. But I couldn't imagine paying 150. So I've been wrong,
Oh, really? You couldn't?
I know. Oh. I've never believed in Netflix ever, never did.
Really?
I always thought Google would be, I always thought YouTube would beat them, but I didn't, I mistakenly didn't think the premium content that you just want to sit back and watch was going to be in that high demand. And it is.
Well, dude, you might not be wrong. But look what they're doing now. Now they're kind of like sourcing that out to like AMC and whoever. And so, dude, that kind of drives their cost down, right? So that's even a more of a bull case to me on Netflix. This looks like it's going higher, my dude.
It probably is. Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. But like how much higher? I don't know. Maybe like 8s, but then it come back down, retest the 7s. So
where do you guys see Bitcoin 59K? Bitcoin's at 61,000. What are you guys talking about? Where is Bitcoin actually at 59K?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Weeble's wrong. Okay, so can we do some Bitcoin TA? What the hell's going on with Bitcoin?
So 61.5. 61.5 is like that big area. So, we've gone through this. As it is not really a long. At this point, it's more neutral. It's more of a short below. Okay, so you're hitting 65. We had a big day today. I think
Dude, fucking Robinhood's still green after hours, even with Bitcoin down that much. That's crazy.
I like that.
I
really like that.
That's amazing.
I think this could be a buy the dip right now.
Why?
Like live. So I think Bitcoin likes to do the flushes on weekends, to be fair. This is not a weekend, so it's a little odd, but we'll see right now, unless there's a large liquidity event happening. 60K, 2 million. Amazon should guys look at Phil Bucker. Amazon break itself. Yeah, so this is a potential retest right into this supply area for Bitcoin.
But Jason, why is it down? We were just at 65. What is happening? Why is this happening?
This is low liquidity, dude. This is like watching a stock in after hours. Like, what do you? There's not like nobody's actively trading right now, but this is where it moves, right? So, here, watch. Let me zoom in. Now we're like heavy in here. So at 59, somewhere in here, that's 60K. Is that going to be psychological support, right? Because 62.5, 60 up in there, right? So this was prior breakout. Look at, we're just in this massive consolidation. It's technically low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So now the question is there a higher low? Because this is higher high, higher low would be right in here, right at 59.5. Defend this order block. We call order block. Defend this right here.
He needs to defend 59.5 before it.
59. Yeah, between 59.5 and 59. Like, so it's right here. So if this can hold, dude, I think you're good.
Do you still see 43,000? Do you think that's a possibility?
No, it won't. It won't be unless I can't say 43,000 unless we're below 56 and change. So 56 here, 56.5. This one, it's got to be flushing heavily below this area.
Dude, the reason this is
I'm
so
just
annoying,
more like a spectator at this point. Look, I'm long, right? Like my point is never like, sell it. But like this area here, if it's below this area, or if it's up in here, I think you could stay hedged. But I don't know that it's going anywhere like massively. This is just typical crypto, man. Seriously.
It is typical crypto, but it's annoying because BlackRock, they just bought $250 million of this thing yesterday.
Oh, dude. Did you see the new ticker I ran into?
No, what is this?
ETHU?
It's 2x Ethereum.
Yeah, I was thinking about starting a wheel on this pretty soon. Maybe tomorrow.
Do you like Ethereum? You think it's like a decent thing to trade? You enjoy it? Because I know a lot of OG crypto people hate Ethereum because they're like,
no, they don't. What are you talking about?
There's a lot of OG crypto people that hate Ethereum.
What do you mean OG? What is OG? Is that like 2020?
There's people that believe Bitcoin is a store of value and Ethereum is a smart contract nonsense blockchain that doesn't really.
It is a smart contract.
No, but they think it's all nonsense, is what I'm trying to say.
Nonsense.
Like Michael Saylor, if you hear him talk about Ethereum, he's just like.
You love Michael.
I mean, it's not just Saylor, like Mike Alfred on Twitter. There's some big Bitcoin accounts that hate it.
It's like the Web3 crew, right? So Web 3, right? Like, so
Web
it's all,
they're all
platforms.
As well.
If you think about them like operating systems, so you have Apple OS, you have.
Do you really
like
think
Windows.
Ethereum is an operating system?
It's a platform. Yes, everything is built on it, right?
What is built on Ethereum? Like, what's one thing that's actually built on Ethereum besides NFTs?
Literally every token, right?
But we know Solana has most of.
Solana is another operating system. Avalanche is they're all platforms. Like Microsoft is an operating system, and then you build your applications on top of them, right?
Yeah, but that's my question. What application that people actually know about is built on Ethereum? That's my point. You can't name
all the original protocols, altcoins, everything.
I feel like all that's on Solana now, bro. I don't think anyone seriously thinks of Ethereum. Like, that's why I'm interested, because you're an OG crypto guy. I didn't know you like.
Yeah, pull this up for you.
So this is a leveraged ETF that's 2x Ethereum. Interesting.
Is that wild?
No, that's going to be very volatile. Ethereum's down 5% right now.
Yeah, pretty much all of these are all old on SNX. Like all of these, or most of them, a lot of these are old like protocols, and these are all cryptos I used to trade, dude. GRT.
Yeah, I feel like Solana is the future when it comes to a platform. Link, yeah, that one.
Link is Ethereum.
Oh, Chainlink is Ethereum?
Yeah. I was actually really interested in this one. Wow. Anyways,
so on Bitcoin, your argument is low volatility. That's kind of the core problem we're struggling with.
For right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's super technical. I mean, it's a lower high, dude. So you just need to see this. If this locks in a higher low, then you're like solidifying that consolidation. But remember, like my kind of like forewarning was always, the Bart Simpson. So it's not wrong yet. It's just, you got to know it's there. It's Q4, right? So I'm still like accumulation mode. But meaning like, what does that mean? For me, that means I'm not buying anything like aggressive. Like the only thing I would, if I saw it down here at this 43s, yeah, I personally might buy some. But other than that, I'm not selling anything. And here now, I think for Ethereum, I would probably be more inclined of selling puts, like if we got on that 2x leverage, as I'm really interested. If we get this kind of like whipsaw to like 18s on ETH, then I would actually be really interested in selling some like downside on that like little cheapie. But there wasn't a lot of premium.
When did this ETH-U ETF come out?
I don't know. That's what I was like. I just saw it the other day.
They have 115 million
shares.
They have 115 million AUM right now.
That's nothing. It was like June.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Nobody knows about this thing yet.
Yeah, this brings up a good question with ETH-U, because you said you're trying to wheel it. Do you think wheeling a trading instrument like a leveraged ETF is better than wheeling a stock that is a proxy for the underlying asset of that?
1,000%. 1,000%. Zero question. So first of all, leverage ETFs, whatever that leverage is, you pay up for the volatility. So you have double the volatility. So you're going to get way more juice for the squeeze. And then we talked about this before. Like, I don't personally like to wheel in my investments because they're investments. And I honestly, if I get in a position to be called away on something that I was intending to just to like collect premium on, I know me, and I get into this really weird situation where Jason, my $1,250 my cost basis.
Holy shit, dude.
That's actually not great. But
hold on real quick before we continue. That the stock is at, or not the stock, the thing is at 61,000, right? Your cost basis is 1,250.
Yeah.
So you're up
whatever, dude.
You're up 60x, basically 6,000%.
No, I'm up a lot more than that, because
You're doing the math wrong.
Yeah. It's not like you just sat there in Bitcoin the whole time. But anyways,
holy shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. Imagine Ethereum when it was called Ant shares for like $9.
But wait, so you bought it on like OG exchanges, and like you've been there since the very beginning at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Like when Ethereum was like not even like Ethereum. um,
Okay.
anyways,
So back to wheeling on options.
wheeling on leverage ETFs. Yeah, I don't like to sell premium on my investments because like they're investments, and I don't. Oh, so many times, like I found myself in the situation where, like, oh crap, something moved way more than I intended it to, and now I'm in a position like I don't want to get called. I think I heard you talking about a situation on Palantir where you had sold a $30 call, and then you were down on your call, and the stock was still going up. Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah, a while
And
ago.
so, like, what do you do in that situation? You kind of get a little like little anxiety, right? Like, I don't really want to sell my shares right now. The stock's still going up. So I to that end, I don't like to be in that situation because it's kind of like, look,
You're betting against your stock, which sucks, right?
yeah. But a leverage ETF, look, these are trading vehicles. These have no business in a real investing like situation. So I'm happy to see these get called away, right? So TNA, TSLL, even the BITX. What I like to do is I like to do it where, from an options perspective, there are options have, if you get something with weekly expiration on options, there's technically 4 weeks in a month, plus the options have a monthly expiration, so you get five weekly series every single month to sell on if you're selling premium on some of these leverage ETFs. So that like TNA is good, but you still want to do it on like specific areas. TSL, TSLT, yeah, those are all good. And like, look, you could sell TSLT doesn't have weekly expirations. So like I said, I would defer to the ones that do have weeklies. TSLT does, or TSLL does. And like you could sell a $9 put for TSLL and get like $25 right now.
Yeah. Which is
Like
a hell of a return. Yeah.
Yeah. And then turn around and sell a $9 call, you get 75 cents. Like, okay, it's good. Right. So those I think can be print like money, like for wheelers. I think that's where that's where all your juice is. Did it get released, Benny?
It's MSTX.
Ooh.
The MicroStrategy.
Did you talk to Will? Are you gonna talk to Will?
No, I don't think I got the email yet.
Stop. You should ping him again.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
yeah, I'll talk to Will. This is not Granite shares.
This is not
This
Granite.
is Defiance. So Defiance is a 1.75 unless the MSTR. Okay, so first of all, Granite shares, Direction, whatever you want to call it, like, and Rex shares. Rex shares does TL. So this is they pronounce Direction. TSLT is we call Rex shares. And then TSL.
Oh, it's LM13. What the heck? That's what it's called. LMI3. That's the ticker.
What is it?
You could have a number in your ticker. That's a thing. LMI3. Holy shit, that's a thing.
No, this is different.
Oh, maybe it's not out, but there is a 3x MSTR that's being worked on by Granite.
2x, yeah. So they have. I know he has, dude. He's got even 2x Dell reserved.
Like, I heard he's got a Palantir one coming out, bro.
That's yeah. So they have all of these like tickers reserved. So it's just it's just about open interest, or not open interest, like market interest. What do they think? I told well, I need this Ethereum one. So maybe this ETHU is shoddy and like not legit. Sometimes that's hard because how they manage the funds, I think, is really important. And I don't know this volatility company. I don't know volatility shares. I've never heard of them. So like it would be important to understand the company. Volatility shares. So they have BITX, UVIX.
Can you explain a little bit more about the daily rebalancing of these ETFs and why people think that's kind of dilution on the leverage ETFs? Do you know anything about that?
Well, I think it's because it's not dilution. It's the way. So every day it goes flat. It'll
Right.
rebalance. So it's a daily. So when you think about it, what is it? BITX. It's a daily 2x leverage. So these are daily double. So at the market, pre-market open, London session open, it's flat, right? So everything's flat. So if it goes up 1% and down 1%, like over time, it's going to be flat. But like every time, if it's slightly higher or slightly lower, because it flattens out every night, like you're not going to catch like a lot of these session kind of gaps. Like those, it's just like futures interest.
Got it.
I think like Will explains it a lot better, but that's something you should definitely have Will on, Granite Show CEO. I will call him if you cannot get a hold of him, and I will bring him on personally then, and he can have a segment with me. But the MSTR, I don't know. What were we? I just got on tangent right now.
We were looking at we were just looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was actually going to go into USO, where I think people don't even realize like USO is a daily. I think this is a daily equivalent, right? Where like it's a 1x essentially, but it's not like actual crude futures, or like crude futures is legit CL,
right?
But it's whatever that daily intraday move is. So.
Okay, let's do two tickers quick, and let's get out of here. Celsius, I know you like this one. Is there any juice left in here, or any energy drink left in here?
So I like it here. 35 was my level. So now 35's hit. The secondary kind of level was like the $40, right? I think it's in a good spot. Like I'm happy that it's not tech, because I do think that tech is somewhat challenged for a little bit. Specifically if we get into this like rate situation, and we have like market overall broadening. I think like there are some stocks that I own, like 3M I own this, and I think this is probably going to be like one of the best performing stocks over the next 12 months. And this is like your grandpa's stock, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive this is going to outperform a lot of everything else, and this is a boring ass stock, I'm just telling you. But like it's similar, like GE did the same, right? Like look at this, you're not getting this performance. This is like Nvidia type returns. But Celsius is in that staples sector, and it's kind of in that diversified areas. It's technically staples sector. So my point is, here now, $40. I think she needs to hold here, 39.80. So this top, and it's getting constructive right in here. Since this happened, I want to see this. It's like $40, give or take. I want to see this really hold. It doesn't have to hold in strength, but they tried to push it down. They couldn't. And as long as if this holds right now, this little situation becomes another one of those little flags, right? So like if this is the bears are in town on Celsius, and they want this to actually break down like this. But the thing is, if it doesn't break down, and this is what's important here. So if this holds literally right here, right now, I think this has to go up, and this has to go up to 45, at least, in order to think that it's still going down. So all your bears disappear. But if this comes back down, it holds like this, we're just going. So right here, right now, Celsius, I think is worth a look. If this holds, locks in a higher low and then another high, it's worth considering and then watching. Because if you get this kind of situation, which is over the course of a few weeks, this is going to look really good if this area holds. But again, I would have been a seller of $40 puts a while ago. Even at 35, I probably would have been a seller of $40 puts. And I think any of those situations, you would have been making money right now. And it's this little red box for me as like the accumulation area. So if it flushes, I don't want to buy anything lower than that because that's it. Like that is it for me. I don't want to buy anything lower, but hopefully this holds. If not, it's still not going up. If it does, because the worst case is this: you get this one more little pop, right, and you get a fail, then it's not going higher.
Okay,
I don't even know where the bottom would be if that happens. But I tell you what, a lot of people buy these things, including me.
Can we do the store where they buy them at, which also had a 52-week high today? Costco.
Yeah.
Do you own this?
Yeah, I mean, you have to own, well, you don't have to own Costco. Yeah, I bought Costco. I bought Costco like a long, not even that long ago, like in this area. But yeah, I don't have a ton of it. Costco is just another one that's like, dude, it's like, look at this chart, dude.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
I mean, I don't know.
It's pretty incredible, man.
Yeah, it is. Like, what do you say about Costco? I just,
it's okay. So people are saying the PE is like a tech company PE, and the growth doesn't warrant that. So what do you say to that?
The safety warrants something here. It doesn't have to explode, right? Like, what's Berkshire's like? Berkshire is like all-time highs today too, right? Look at this. I mean, look. I mean, weird.
Berkshire's PE is 24. Costco's PE is 55.
Yeah,
so,
I am 50. Different. So yeah, that's like double the S&P. I don't know. They haven't. What's so weird is like they haven't like increased memberships until just recently. Costco crowds. Yeah, I believe that. Right? Like
they opened the new Japan stores. Yeah,
dude. I mean, I can't really defend the valuation, to be fair, but I mean, I can defend the stock, if that makes sense. Like from a price perspective, it's just not.
Well, do you think it's recession proof? Like, I kind of feel like it is
proven to be pretty recession proof.
Yeah, I feel like it's a blue chip name from that respect.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a blue chip. Like, who are the real competitors to Costco? Like, is Sam's Club really? Like, there's another one. What is
BJ's? That's another one.
Yeah, BJ's. BJ's is another. It's a public company.
Really?
But it's not even. It's right here. It's not even comparable. Right, here's BJ's.
Yeah, it looks like nothing, dude. Nothing.
It doesn't look bad, but it's not Costco.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Walmart, right? Doing something similar. What's crazy, like this Walmart, I have a chart here that was saved 364 days. So if each candle was a full year, I've been watching this annual breakout on Walmart coming for like 2 years. Because it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It needed the 2024 bull market to
this is what it looked like before January. And you're like, oh my God, if this Walmart chart actually goes, and it finally did, what's it going to look? Yeah, that's what it's going to look like right there.
Yep. By the way, Bitcoin just fell below 59.5. So there we go.
Are you buying?
I'll buy $100 right now. I'll do it. I'll put in 100. It's not going to be the average of 1250 like you, but
Bitcoin like has no stop. Like there's no circuit breakers. So sometimes it could just go. This is what I say.
Dude, that's what gives it the thrill, though. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. You just
imagine trading. If you're a crypto trader, imagine the guys trading futures right now in crypto.
Why is there not a big blockbuster movie about someone trading crypto? Like, I feel like you can make so many storylines off of that. And like,
I think that was it, dude. 59.05. Boom.
Okay, I'm buying. No one followed me. I'm buying $100 right now. Damn it! It went to 59.380. As soon
Did you guys just do that?
That wasn't my order. I don't think that was my order.
All I say is it hit my little line and then it went up for a second. We'll see.
All right, I just bought $100.
If it gets over my second line, then that's really good. like this 59.6 line. We'll see. This is a 30-second chart. What you got? 30 seconds.
Okay, I just bought it.
Look,
I'm in.
look
I
at-
just bought
look
the dip. Where's it at right now? Is it at 58? No, it's like
No.
dude. It's. Do you think it hits 58? I mean, it's struggling to hold 50. Oh, there it is. There's
Oh.
58. There's 58.
So it would be.
I need to buy it again. I want to get the bottom, dude. Fuck this. This is crazy.
No, you're good.
I'm already bag holding, dude. I'm already bag holding.
So if you want, you would throw a limit order out 53.
53,000? You think it could go to 53?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting a limit order for 53.
And then
holy shit, dude, it's about to hit 57. Oh my god, it's collapsing.
and then most of your order at 43.
Okay, if it goes to 43, I give up, dude. Fuck that shit.
No, then you buy it. That's when
I'll buy more, but it'll be a little. Why? But why is this happening, Jason? Why today?
It's moving. It's moving. You're moving this market,
dude. It's at 58.3. It's $300 away from 57. Down 7%. Why is it down 7%? What is what happened today? What could have possibly happened? Is this for Nvidia tomorrow?
This is not supposed to happen at 6 p.m. Eastern.
It's also not supposed to happen right before we get a rate cut in like 3 weeks. Like, this is surprising, dude. But your cost basis means that you don't give a fuck, I would imagine.
I don't give a
fuck. Oh my gosh. Wait, where's Robinhood? Because this. Oh no, I'm afraid to check Robinhood. Where's Robinhood? Robinhood's still 21.25, still holding.
Yeah.
But now it's fine. 21.18. All right, so now it's definitely gonna take a little pain.
Wait, what? Rocket Lab down 10% just now?
Rocket Lab's been down 10% the whole day.
Oh.
It's because the Sydney market opened.
That's the only market that just opened.
I tweeted today I hate crypto, and I wasn't lying. Like, I really hate crypto, dude. Like, I don't like it. I'm only in this to make money. I don't care.
I don't like it. You don't?
Dude, I don't give a shit about crypto. I just want to make some money. But philosophically, I don't believe in any of this stupid decentralized nonsense, bro. It's all bullshit. Like, I just want it to go up so I can make money. That's it. Because really, that's just it. And pretty much everyone in the chat thinks the same. They just don't want to say it. Like, I get the philosophy around it. I understand it's a hedge against the authoritarian dollar. I get it. But I just want it to go up. That's it.
Oh, dude. Let me see if I can send you this book. Do you listen to books or do you read books?
Dude, I like, the thing is, I just, no amount of books are going to get me so excited to care about Bitcoin that, like, I'm going to become some maxi that just loves.
No, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi.
You know what I mean? Like, you want it to go up too. You don't really care that much about it. You just want it to go up.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point. Everyone just it's a trading instrument. That's all it is. That's really all it is. I like philosophically like exploring it. And when I got orange pilled earlier this year, it was a great journey.
What's orange pilled?
Listening to basically masturbating to Michael Saylor, essentially.
That's
great
in the morning, dude.
But I get it. I just, dude, I don't like the volatility, dude. I just, it's annoying.
Yeah, you can't just be like, looking at it every day. Oh, nice.
Do you believe in the rainbow chart?
There it is, dude.
Do you believe in the rainbow chart as much as you believe in the Bart Simpson chart?
I don't know the rainbow chart.
No, there's no way you don't know the rainbow chart for Bitcoin. There's no way. That's the first thing I learned about Bitcoin.
What?
Type in rainbow chart Bitcoin. You've had to have seen it before, dude. It, like, the colors show you to like buy or sell, dude. It's the thing. It's the Bitcoin rainbow chart. How do you not know this? You've never seen this? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, apparently when it gets to the red, you sell. And when it's like blue, it's.
When do you sell?
This is the first thing Carlos showed me. And he's like, a big Bitcoin maxi that I know. I think there's a website for it that gets more in depth, but.
Crypto news. That's hilarious. Is it based on the moon cycles too?
I don't fucking know, dude. It's based on whatever I guess the market wants it to be. All right. Well, that's what we're seeing right now.
Okay, so let's play this forward. Oh. So
it's a logarithmic chart, correct?
Look, dude. So based on this Bitcoin rainbow chart, it's saying 43.
Well, that's just amazing. That's just incredible.
Are you green yet?
That's what I wanted to hear. No, I'm not.
You're almost green, dude. You're almost green. Did you hit it again?
It's at 58.9.
The
No,
button was broken.
I need to wait a couple. Yeah, I didn't. I need to wait a couple $100 to get green on Bitcoin.
Oh, dude.
It is weird that it's happening though right now after hours. I don't. This is very weird. It's randomly happening.
Yeah.
But then again,
count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Boom! He's green.
10. Wow, I'm actually green. That's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous, dude.
Love it.
Oh my god.
There you have it.
All right, that's it for us today, guys. Thank you, Jason.
And now you're even greener.
Now I'm even greener.
Sell.
It's hilarious. Paper Gains on Twitter. I'm putting it in the chat.
Guys. It's been fun.
Please make sure to follow him. You'll get access to all of his stuff and his links on Twitter. Jason, thank you every single week.
Tuesday, week, something like that.
Yeah, Technical Tuesday. Someone says, does he teach classes? His Discord has all the stuff if you're looking to get more out of it.
Yeah, I haven't run like an official, what we call School of Gains, like a full course. Like they're usually like a semester of like, because to learn in thoroughly, I feel like you want to put some more time into it. So I might run like a full series sooner than later, and we'll probably shoot you guys a code if you want to check it out. So keep that on the radar.
Before you go,
green. You are green.
I'm green. Thank you. Thank you for letting me buy it. But real quick, Nvidia.
It might not last us.
It might not. Pump or dump tomorrow on Nvidia. What's your final thought?
Beat and skeet. Is that the option? Beat and skeet.
If you want to frame it like that, then
that's the term, right? I learned that.
Give me the number. What do you think? 8 p.m. tomorrow. Where do you think Nvidia is?
Oh man, I hate those things. Dude, what's it at right now? 135.
Hold you accountable. What do you think?
I'll
say 140. I'll be the big bull. I'll say 140. I'll be the big bull, even though that's asking for a lot in my opinion. But 140.
140.
I'll do it. More likely.
Nah, it won't be 140. It'll be 155.67.
$155.67. Okay.
Not specific at all.
Hey, I would love that more than 140.
Yeah. Cool.
All right,
man. Adios.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Bye. Have a good one.
Later.
All right, guys. That's it for me. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This was a fun one. Bitcoin having a little bit of interesting moves after hours. We'll see what ends up happening. I'll see if there's any news on this, and we'll talk about it tomorrow in the market open if there's a reason for it to be down, but it's probably just people trading volatile nature before Nvidia earnings. I thought this would happen over the weekend. It held 64 really well. So I kind of thought it was going to take a little dip because I didn't think 64 was sustainable, but it held it throughout the weekend. And now we're seeing a little bit more volatility, down about 6% on Bitcoin. All right. So I'll be back tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. Tomorrow's a big day. 3:30, we'll have the Nvidia stream. Me and Jose, we will be live for a good 3.5, maybe even 4 hours covering those Nvidia earnings. We'll listen to the call, get the Jensen interview after, dissect the numbers. Jose has been in Nvidia for a long time, so he'll have some good insights. And that's pretty much it. We'll keep going from there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys got some value, and I'll be back 8:45 a.m. tomorrow. It's a big, big day. We'll see what happens in the market open, and then we'll get into Nvidia earnings. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.